tonight.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, tremendous Thursday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where it's Thursday. And you know what that means? The Daily Grand, where you can win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Do the math, $7.2 million could be yours at PlayAlberta.ca. And you know what? We got lots to discuss on the program today. Of course, NBA trade deadline has come and gone. And, I think the biggest deal in the last few days, well, since we've been on the air, of course, the Jimmy Butler trade to Golden State. There's a few other deals. We'll recap that. The NHL is winding down before they get to the Four Nations break. The Edmonton Oilers, well, sloppy, I think is a fair way to describe lots of that game last night against Chicago. Pickard made a few key saves when they needed it. They blew a lead again in the third period, which is not an ideal trend for this team, but they did get the winner in overtime, and they skate away with 2 points. And at this stage of the season, you're kind of in the dog days of the year. You know what? There's going to be games where you're not playing well. There's lots of good teams not playing well at certain times, but Edmonton is finding ways to win. And ultimately, that's what matters. You can't win the cup in February. I think we all know the Oilers' puck management right now, attention to detail defensively is not where it's been for long stretches early in the year. And they got one game left. They flew home last night from Chicago. They will have the day off today. And then they will take on Colorado, who is in Calgary tonight. So, but it is Edmonton's third game in 4 nights. They've traveled from St. Louis to Chicago to Edmonton. They looked a little fatigued last night. And, maybe mentally more than anything else. And I don't know, are some guys thinking about the break? Maybe not. But Colorado, it's not like they're coming in on fire. They've struggled. They can't score all of a sudden. Now, maybe that changes tonight in Calgary. We'll see. But if you want a little advanced scouting on the Avalanche, you can check it out tonight as they take on the Flames. Marty Necas, Drury, they will first time for Oilers fans to see them in an Avalanche uniform. And it is interesting. Since the Rantanen trade, in 6 games, the Avs have scored only 15 goals. Cale Makar has 5 points in those 6 games, but 3 of them came in 1 game. Nathan McKinnon only has 5 points. They got shut out by the Canucks 3-0 in their last game. So safe to say they're not playing at the peak of their game. So if the Oilers can find a way, right, at this stage, you know what? I think when you come out of the break, it can be a lot more critical of sloppiness. They got to tighten up. I think Edmonton's shown for long stretches they can be a pretty good overall defensive team. Funny, though, the last 2 games, people have been freaking out on the goaltender. Stuart Skinner made some huge saves in St. Louis, and Pickard made a few big ones last night as well. And they find ways to get the win. Leon Draisaitl continues to roll. Could it be Jeff Skinner, Leon Draisaitl finding some chemistry? Maybe. Nah, it's only 1 game, so I'm just going to temper it. But they had a really good third period. Goal from Skinner. Then he assists on Draisaitl's goal. Nice play to create the turnover by Skinner. And, that's big for them. And if you can get Jeff Skinner going, that'll be huge, right? Like Skinner's goals per 60, I've said it all year long. Considering the amount of minutes he's playing, he's actually producing just fine. But if he can, obviously, if you play with Draisaitl, you're going to get more opportunities. There's no doubt about that, right? So you get more opportunities. And now Skinner last night, it was in the first period, he had that great chance. Came across. Now it's a pretty big save by the goaltender in Chicago. But Skinner continues to score. It's like anything. You get a little confidence. If he all of a sudden, I got to look. I don't even think he's scored in back-to-back games yet this year, right? So you get into a little bit of a rhythm. And, sadly for Skinner, if all of a sudden he's playing well, then he's going to go into a break, right? Now, maybe that's a good thing. you head into the break if you're Jeff Skinner, and maybe he'll have games with consecutive goals and he'll feel good about himself. We'll see. But overall, was not pretty last night by any stretch of the imagination, but the Oilers found a way to win. We'll take your thoughts via the text line 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. Their partners in power since 1975. For all your electrical gear, go to ewel.ca. We got a text coming in already. Hey, Gregor, what's your thoughts on Arvidsson and how he's played? Why does he seem to get such a longer leash than Skinner in the top six? Valid question, Mike. Because honestly, I don't think Arvidsson's been great this season for me. Now, that was a great shot last night. No question. That's a huge goal for him. Huge goal for the Oilers at the time of the game. Got them the first goal of the game. Great. But yeah, it's only 7 goals for him. And he's basically been, every game he's played, locked in your top 6. Right? It's not like he's giving you great production goal-wise. Now, the other thing that I found a little surprising, now, granted, when you see a player every game, you get more of an appreciation, more of an understanding of their game. I don't recall watching the last few seasons against the Kings and Arvidsson. Was he a part-time Zamboni there too? Because this guy falls over. He's almost to the point where you could do Arvidsson down like they did for Scott Hartnell. Now, it's not at the level because Hartnell used to have some epic wipeouts. And, then he had the shirt in Philadelphia and the fans loved it. It was great. Hartnell down. But is it just me, Connor Halley, or is Arvidsson's down quite a bit, and he leaves the game at least once a game where it looks like he's, alien of something, and then he comes back most of the time. But am I wrong on the RV down? That's what it could be called.
Little wildness, little, I don't even know what you'd call it, reckless abandon at times where he kind of just flies in and is on the seat of his pants. Yeah, I don't know if it's quite Hartnell level, but he has been at times a bit of a roller coaster out there.
I think I'm going to start counting. Just for fun.
Set the over-under, maybe?
Yeah, we'll just see. Maybe, because sometimes you think something is there, and then you look for it. Oh, look, it happened, but it might only happen once a game. And maybe it doesn't happen as often as you would think. So, we'll kind of go through that. When I look at a few other texts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Gregor, I read your article yesterday talking about the goalies. I agree, but disagree at the same time. I have no problem with Skinner. It's more so Pickard. Do you think there's an upgrade there? Because I don't like his game. Well, here's the thing about Calvin Pickard. So his first game of the year, which happened to be the Oilers' second game of the season, and they weren't very good. And he allowed 5 goals against Chicago on 20 shots. And now since then, he has made 17 starts. In his 17 starts since, which goes back basically the entire season except one game, right? Because he played on the Saturday, whatever that was, the 11th or the 12th, whatever day it was. And since that, so take out the first game. Since then, which is a much bigger sample size, he's got a 2.32 goals against average and a 909 save percentage. And he's 14-3. Now, I understand that, he gets some of the lesser light competition because that's what you do for your backup. But he's 14-3 in his last 17 starts with a 2.32 goals against average. I don't really even care what his save percentage is at that point. He's if your goal is only allowing 2.3 goals per game, your chances of winning are really good. So basically, he gives you a chance to win most nights. Now, did you know that of all the guys who are backups in the NHL, he has the most wins. He has a lower goals against average than Fleury and Hoffer. And Fleury's on a pretty good team, right? Minnesota's a top 10 team. So who's the upgrade when you look at finances? Who's an obvious upgrade? I'm not sure I see one. And the backup goalie in Edmonton, unless you're going to bring in another, a quasi 1A, he's only going in case of emergency. Right? I don't think the plan is to play Calvin Pickard a whole bunch in the playoff. Maybe, he gets in the third period if it's a blowout game. Right? Obviously, the Oilers are hoping that, Stuart Skinner doesn't have a few games like he did against Vancouver. But also, even when Stuart Skinner came back, in his final 15 playoff games last year, he allowed 2 goals or less in 11 of them. That's really good. Right? He had 3 of the top 9 for people who love the stat. Saves above expected. 3 of the top 10 and the top 9 in the playoffs. Like, I'm not sure what more you can want. Like, people value the 2 games that he struggled against Vancouver and put them on a pedestal that's like 10 times more valuable than all the good games he had. And that's not how it works. It just doesn't. He had way more good games than poor games. Right? So you can get focused on the negative ones, and that's fine, but you're missing all the good games he had. And he had a lot of good games. So, but I don't really see an obvious upgrade for Gibson, or sorry, for Pickard. Like, I'm not big on Gibson. Like, I don't have much time for it. Right? People are, they worry, well, look at Stuart Skinner's high danger save percentage. Yeah, well, then go look at John Gibson's. It's worse. Okay, and he's facing more of them. So, like, I don't see how that's an upgrade to your team, especially, when you look at the cap, because Anaheim, even if they retain half, you're still having your backup at over 3. So when I look at how the Oilers allocate their money up to the deadline, I wouldn't. I guess if you can find a backup who's in similar range as Pickard that for certain is an upgrade, sure. But then you got to name it, because I've looked at it and I don't see one. Like, because right now, you're only getting a backup from a team that's out of the playoffs. So let's go through the teams. Like, I know people say Vejmelka, he's not really a backup. And I'm not sold that. Keep in mind, he lost his starting job last year to Connor Ingram. I mean, now they basically just flopped again. And now he's back as the starter. If your concern is inconsistency, why is he the answer? Because that seems to be the concern. It's the inconsistency. Some people don't like the first shot on goal factor. And you know what? I actually I've been researching. It takes a lot of time, but I think I've got it down to most of the teams and where Skinner and Pickard are, and it's high for sure. But I think people are going to be surprised at it's not nearly as bad as you think. So like Stu, they're playing Colorado. You know how many goals in the first 3 shots Mackenzie Blackwood has allowed this year? 10 between San Jose and Colorado. And it's 5 already with the Avs, by the way. Hasn't been there very long. So he had 5 with San Jose. He has 5 with the Avs. Skinner has 12. Vasilevsky has 11. Shesterkin has 13. So when people get focused on something, right now, Calvin Pickard, actually, he's allowed 11. So I could see how that maybe concerns you. Now, he's also taken then you got to go and break down every goal. How much is it on the goalie? How much is it on just porous play early? Some's going to be on the goalie, no question. But not everyone. You can't just say, well, if the goalie allows it on the first 3 shots, it's automatically his fault. Tic-tac-toe, bang, bang, 2-on-0. I'm not really blaming the goalie. But, Pickard has 11, so I could see that being a concern, no question. But now it's against some weaker teams. Are the Oilers taking them for granted? I don't know. I got to break down every goal. And that's, so you get the goals and then you got to go look through them all. And, and that's how I look at it. But there are other guys. Jake Ottinger is allowed 10, right? It's, Aiden Hill's at 9. So I don't think it's as crazy as people think overall, right? Now, the combination of Edmonton, it's not ideal because Pickard as your backup is allowed that many. But Stu Skinner's numbers aren't like, as I mentioned, Vasilevsky's 11, Shesterkin's 13, Skinner's 12. Ottinger's 10. What did I say? Hill's at 9, Blackwood's at 10. So I'm looking at some of the other top guys. So I know it's important to look at what your team's doing, but then for me, in my job, I like to compare it to the rest of the league. Right? Is it out of whack? Is it as bad as you think? So we'll see. Hey, Gregor, I actually like Pickard, but I think people are worried about an injury for Skinner. How about Quick as a depth add from Gio? Well, I don't see the Rangers moving Jonathan Quick at this stage. They want to get to the playoffs, right? They feel like they're starting to come around. They got another big win last night, and they're in a battle, and they can't just ride Shesterkin into the ground. And so I think they'll keep Jonathan Quick, because what are they? They are 4 points back of Tampa Bay for the second wildcard spot. Now they got the Islanders and the Blue Jackets and the Bruins in between them. So it'll be a dogfight, but they have games in hand on the Bruins and the Blue Jackets. So Jonathan Quick, I'd be surprised if the Rangers move him at this point. Hey guys, I'd love Fleury as a 1B, and that's only off experience. I'm pretty sure money wouldn't work. Also not a fan of Gibson. Nicky in the north side. Well, again, the Wild are a top 10 team. I ain't trading their backup goaltender. Right? They're going into it's his final year. He's been doing the whole tour. They're loving it. There is zero chance that he is getting moved. Hey guys, afternoon. Here's to the good times in Oilerland. When people are complaining about the backup, it means we don't have many problem. Gone are the days of saying our first stringers may be a backup. First world problems. JB in a loader. It's true. It's true. Hey boys, I was listening to your show for a long time. During the decade of darkness, there was lots of complaints about the Oilers. Now that they're good, people are still complaining. Enjoy what you have right now, old country, because it's not going to last forever. From Ramon. Yeah, well, some will complain. There's lots of people. We got these one. Hey, guys, I have no problem with our goaltenders. Gregor, I think you're bang on. Other issues. My question is, do you think they need a top 6 winger? Now that, Steve, I think is a really good conversation. Do they need a top 6 winger? Here's what I think the Oilers for sure need in their forward group is they need an injection of some speed. I look at their team and the playoff pace, and you've all seen it the last few years. Playoff pace is different. The Oilers, top to bottom, aren't as fast. And so I think they need a player, 2 things. Probably 2 players. I would like one with a little bit of physicality. Like Trent Frederick, I got a lot of time for Trent Frederick. Now, I know he's not a center. He's only taken 200 faceoffs for the Bruins. He's not a natural center. He's a winger. He can chip in. He's probably a bottom 6 guy. Could he moonlight? Right, Podkolzin played top 6 all year long. Didn't produce a lot, but didn't give up a lot either. Trent Frederick has proven better hands. Could he play there? Yeah, he would add you some physicality. He plays with an edge. He brings some bite. He brings some emotion. I'd have some interest in him. Now, what's the cost going to be? I think the Bruins are probably hoping that he has higher value because he's somewhat of a unicorn in today's game. There's not a lot of skilled physical players like him. Even guys who chip in 18 to 22 goals. That's pretty skilled. Today's game. So I'd have interest in him. In an ideal world, you could find a top 6 guy with speed and skill. Not many available, right? Like, does Brock Nelson do much for you, Oiler fans? If I don't have to give up a lot, I'd probably have time for Brock Nelson. And if I'm the Islanders, I understand that, they'll probably wait till the final few days. And, I saw Boda's report out of New York today that, hey, he wants to sign there. He wants to sign long-term. Long-term? Hey, God love Brock Nelson. He's 34. What do you mean long-term? Of course, he wants to sign long-term, but doesn't mean I'd be signing him long-term. So I look at him. There's not a lot of others, to be honest. If you look at Saravalli's, and I trust me, I go through every team, and you look at the trade targets, the list isn't that long, especially because I kind of start more so on the teams, near the bottom. Right, like the top 6 teams in each conference right now, they're not trading anyone. I don't think the Red Wings, who have gone on a real great run here, put themselves in position. I think Steve Yzerman would love to get to the playoffs. They don't even care if they lose; they just want to get in. So I don't see them trading off. Tampa Bay, no. The Jets, Stars, Wild, Oilers, Knights, Kings, Avs, no. Right. So who does that leave in the West? Like St. Louis? Hey, Dylan Holloway? No, I'm just kidding. But Seattle. I like Yanni Gourde, but Yanni Gourde brings you some edge to his game for sure. But he's got a pretty high ticket. Now, Seattle probably eats half of it. What's he worth? Nashville, like the Nashville one, if you could get them to retain some on Marchessault, would that interest you? Arvidsson going back, he's got 1 year left. That's an intriguing one to me. There's all this talk about how Nashville is going to make some moves, and you know what? They haven't made any yet, but that doesn't mean they won't. Chicago, you watched that game last night. Was there any forward in Chicago that interests you? That's tradable. Obviously, we're eliminating Bedard. I didn't see one. Did you? San Jose, they already moved out Granlund. They can't retain any salary either, so that makes a trade from them fairly difficult. So then you go at the East, and so we can go through the teams that. The list isn't that long. That's the problem. With Rantanen and Miller and even CeCe and Granlund, the trades now, like the available players, it's not an overly deep pool. So, could you find another Kasperi Kapanen? Right? He costs you nothing. He's a waiver wire claim. But a guy who's got some really good speed. Like for me, Kapanen's playing in my playoff roster for the Oilers, mainly because of his speed. And he's got a great shot. He's been pretty good, reliable defensively. I have no problem with him. He's not a great player, but he brings some elements the team lacks. And they don't have enough team speed, especially for playoff hockey. So that would be my number one thing if I was the Oilers. When we return, Hall of Famer, longtime friend of the show, Adam Oates will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 9th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with promo code GAME25. Order at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using promo code GAME25. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Elevate your game with the Basketball Show, hosted by me, Paul Sir. Tune in Saturday mornings at 10 for expert insights, exclusive interviews, and the latest hoops action. It happens right here on Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Every nickel that you don't pay in interest is a nickel back in your pocket. So make a 0% interest deal with your friends at St. Albert Dodge. Right now, you can drive away in Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the 2025 Ram 1500, with 0% financing. There's a great selection, over 100 on the lot. Or if you'd like to get some cash back to pay off your credit cards and start the year fresh, they can help you with that too. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love, better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade, safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
A Bedtime Story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Of course, trade deadline is just over a month away from now. Basically, 4 weeks tomorrow, to be exact. And keep in mind that 2 of those weeks, it's 4 nations. So I think when it comes out of it, the Oilers are back in action on the 20. They play tomorrow, and then they don't play again until the 22nd. I think it is, against Philadelphia when they start a 5-game road trip. So guys like McDavid, Ekholm, and Arvidsson, who are playing in the 4 nations, they're basically going to be on the road for a month, right? Because they'll leave Edmonton, whatever. Are they leaving Sunday? I think it is. And they're not going to fly back after that tournament, I wouldn't think. Now, I guess it depends when you get knocked out. If Sweden gets knocked out early and they got 3 days, then they'd probably come home. But if Canada's in the finals on the Friday, I think it is, Thursday. Well, he's already in Boston or Montreal. You're not going to fly back to Edmonton just to leave the next day to go all the way back out east to Philadelphia. So you'd be packing a lot for those guys. Let's go around the NHL now, brought to you by McDonald's, and the showdown menu is here. If you haven't tried it, the Big Mac David, it's a double Big Mac. Ooh. A little extra juice for you. Also, if you haven't tried it, the triple cheeseburger. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Stop in now, only at McDonald's. And good friend of the show. Haven't talked to him in a while. Of course, he is a Hall of Famer. He is a skills coach for many of the NHL's best players. Adam Oates joins us. Oatesy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Jake. Long time, man.
Yeah, how are things?
Things are very good. How about yourself?
Well, pretty good. Pretty good. It's there's lots going on in the sporting world. So, Adam, you used to be a regular on our show all the time, and we were talking. You got into working with a lot of the players and the skills, and we're seeing the evolution of it. And I think part of the reason we've seen an uptick in offense is because there's guys like you. Because for the longest time it was only the goalies who had like their own coach, right? And the forward. So when you look at the progression of some of the guys you worked with over the last few years, do you notice it? Is it that obvious for you, just, how much better they are and maybe some of the finer details of scoring and even picking pucks up off the boards, et cetera?
You know what? Obviously, not trying to blow my own horn, but the answer to the question is yeah. Like at the end of the day, every single coach has a system, and all I really try and do is get a player, no matter what talent level he is, whether he's a sixth defenseman or the star of the team, to execute the coach's system. And I kind of know what it is. Like I know what the coach wants from this particular player. I know what he wants at this particular moment. And, like the video tells a story. And we just go about trying to make their game better. That's really, truly all it's about.
And, and it's really the finer details. I remember when we talked about, and Darnell Nurse talked to me about it, when he spent like one summer just going back, picking pucks up off the boards, because, it was, I can't remember the number, like 80% of the game or something ridiculously high is spent along the boards. And if you can't make good plays along the boards consistently, you're going to hamper your team.
And honestly, it's funny you mentioned that, because in my opinion, that is still the hardest play in all of hockey.
Yeah.
A defenseman going back for a puck that they've dumped in, and you got guys chasing you. And you have to figure out the bounce and the spin of the puck, how much time you have, what angles you have, where your partner is the goalie in the way? Is there someone on the other side of the net that's trying to get you as well? And you got to somehow manufacture a play and take care of yourself, which is very difficult.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, I remember you talking about the importance of working on your backhand, for young players, because it forces you to have your head up more naturally, right? And have you seen, because you got a lot of players, and I don't want to name names, but I remember you talking about certain guys, and they're like really, they never really worked on their backhand, and they made it to the NHL. right? And so when you see that, like, can you teach an old dog new tricks, I guess is my question. For established guys when it comes to, something that I know it sounds simple, but I watch a lot of games and there's very few players like Draisaitl's, he's a unicorn when it comes to backhand play, right?
Fantastic, right?
Right. But there's not a lot of guys like that, like not even close.
And you know what? Honestly, when you really think about it, the backhand versus the forehand, isn't that like the midpoint of the arena?
Yeah.
Like, so technically, don't you have to go to your backhand as much as you have to go to your forehand? Technically, if you run the good routes. And when you watch a guy like Leon, obviously, he's fantastic on his backhand, and he's fantastic shooting the puck on his forehand, isn't he?
Oh.
And, and he's fantastic at taking contact. He also sees contact going. I mean, he's a superstar, right? He does everything well. But to your point, yeah, we spend a lot of time on backhand because at the end of the day, I'm trying to give a player vision. And we play a fast game. We play a physical game. The puck is against the boards, and sometimes it's on the boards on your backhand. Can you execute? And once again, it sounds simple, but it's not.
Adam Oates, it isn't at all. What's the most basic, simple thing to work on and improve a backhand? Even for a young player.
Well, you know what? It sounds easy. And if you sort of came out and watched one of our sessions in the summer, and people do, and it's usually like one guy or two guys, kind of like Max, and it looks boring and it looks very remedial. It does. It's like, what are they working on? And honestly, you think about it. The puck goes down the board. Let's say you're a forward. You go behind the net. I'm going to throw a puck down the wall on your backhand. How are you going to collect it?
Yeah.
How are you going to collect it? That defenseman's coming at you. How are you going to collect that puck, protect yourself, and see that guy open in the slot? If you do that, you're fantastic. You really are.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to go. But to your point, how do you work on this stuff? I have my sort of like my drills that we go through. We go through a process. We work on how to see things, right? Because it's one thing if you're behind the net, you're passing to a guy in the slot, that's about a 10, 15-foot pass. That, for example, your eyes would be looking through the defenseman's triangle or between his legs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming down the ice and you're looking across the rink, that's a 90-foot vision. So it's not a 10-foot vision, it's a 90-foot vision. So to get technical with the NHL guys, these guys have the skills to do this. So, we work on eye lines, we work on routes, we obviously work on shooting and passing, but there's, we take it to the next level in terms of details. We do.
The eye line is a fascinating one, Adam, is to look at that. And I'm sure for you, like when you got into this, because even when you played, like you were meticulous about, I remember Jared Stoll telling me that, when you came in late into Edmonton, and just so many little tricks about how to be a better face-off guy. Right. And obviously it helped him. He was a really good face-off guy. Horkoff, they all raved about it. You were always a student of the game. But when you got into, and then you became an NHL head coach, and then you've gotten into this skill coach avenue. Adam Oates today compared to Adam Oates when you started, what's the biggest thing you've learned as a skills coach?
Probably just like everything, how to explain it better.
Okay.
How to have better drills, how to make the hour and a half more efficient in terms of trying to pass along the knowledge. I do work with a body guy to make sure that I'm making a player use his body correctly. Like we just talked about eye line, right?
Okay.
So yeah, there's a certain position that your eyes have to be in a certain spot. That's a fact. And obviously we have to see guys coming. So there's different sort of like ways to teach it. And I kind of it's been 7-8 years now where I do study the human body in terms of how to explain it. I do.
Okay. I was going to say, I know you're always wanting to learn new things, and it is like, and the other thing is like certain players, like you talk about, hey, I work with number 1 defenseman, I work with number 6 defenseman. They have a natural skill set that's different, right? It's just, I'm not going to ask my number 6 defenseman to suddenly be Quinn Hughes, right? Like it's not going to work. But what about like you learn certain guys, some guys are probably hindered in maybe some of their motion, right? Because they don't do it. So do you find that out? And then they're like, do you talk to like a strength coach and say, hey, we got to work on that so he can get more limber in his shoulders, which is going to give him more rotation in his trunk to allow him to make certain plays better? Does it go that in depth?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, it does, man. Like it does. Like for example, a 6 defenseman. one of the things that he probably struggles with is gap. And that's a word we've heard forever.
Yeah.
But like to your point, Quinn Hughes doesn't worry about gap.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily skating ability. It's not. There are other factors involved. Right. And so we go down the whole gamut because a sixth defenseman, you know, what's his job? Trying to be a fifth defenseman, right?
Yeah.
Trying to make the coach happy, trying to play one more minute, trying to be reliable. So he's got to learn how to break the puck out a little bit better, maintain his gap a little better, right? Cut a guy off, stay D side a little better. Like all the things that you hear, we try and execute. We do.
Adam Oates joins us, of course, a Hall of Famer, a longtime NHLer, head coach, of course, is a skills coach for many players. A lot of the best players in the league. One of the guys you've worked with for many years, of course, is a guy that's chasing, you know, who you deemed, you know, your idol, one of the best players you ever seen in Wayne Gretzky. As you sit back and you watch Ovi and the chase for Gretzky, Adam, and you played for a long time, like you played in your 40s, but like he's on pace. I think in his last 73 games, he has 48 goals, for God's sakes. Like, you know, like it's pretty ridiculous what he's doing at this stage.
You know what? I actually talked to him a few days ago, and I made a joke with him about now he's Dr. Empty Net.
Yeah.
Because when I coached him, he wasn't on the ice when the other team pulled the goal. He put it that way.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, yeah, when you have situations like this, you just have to take your hat off to a player because, you know, longevity, like, come on, to play our game for a long, long time is really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's, you know, it's fast, it's physical. You have to be dedicated. What he's accomplished, you know, I don't think anybody saw it coming. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, it's fantastic. It is. And it's one of those sort of like, because obviously I've been thinking about it. It's one of those things where you don't really want to compare because, for example, if Gretz knew someone was going to catch him, he might have played one more year and got 40 more.
Yeah.
So it's not that, you know, like obviously Wayne Gretzky is my favorite player of all time, like by a mile, actually. But, you know, the fact that Ovi has a chance to break this record is just incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. And well, you talked about longevity and, you know, sometimes the best ability is dependability. And he missed 18 games this year. That he had only missed due to health because he was suspended and then he had some other issues. But actual injury games, he missed 35 prior to this season. Like that's mind blowing, right? Like it's crazy.
Incredible.
Like you played a long time, but like you can get nicked up and sometimes, you know, there's a little bit of luck involved, but he wasn't just scoring goals. He was leading the league in hits, Adam. Like he's a rare superstar who plays that physical.
Well, I was just going to say, like that's another element, isn't it? Like it really truly is. It's another element where it's not just taking contact. He gives contact. That's, you know, it really truly is incredible. And we should all compliment him and marvel at it for sure.
Now, speaking of giving contact, if you look at certain players in the game, and if there's a style of player today that seems to be lacking, it's an aggressive, skilled winger. You know, a guy, because there's some big guys who can run around and hit everybody, but they don't necessarily have any other skills. But like a Trent Frederick, for instance, he can score 18 goals, but he'll be very physical. There's not a lot of those guys, Adam. And some of it's maybe just, you know, a willingness to be physical, but some of it, I don't even know if certain guys know how to hit. Can you work with skills, but also work with, hey, let's help you learn how to be a better body checker?
So the answer, once again, is yes. And number two, do we do it? Oh, yeah. So, for example, a defenseman. You're going in the corner with the guy. You're going in the corner with Leon Draisaitl, and you happen to have an angle on him. Should you win that battle?
You would hope so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Should you win it by yourself?
Ooh. Probably. If it's one-on-one?
Yeah. If you have the angle.
Yeah.
You should win it by yourself. And if you win it by yourself, here's $5 million.
True.
So, it's funny because like all the plays you see, you know, I watch every day and I watch all the goals from every single game, and every single goal tells a story, you know, good and bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very sensitive subject to me because I played with Ray Bork, and I played with him a long time, and I use his speech a lot. He was fantastic. No, I was wrong. He was better than I thought. Because when I got traded, I went to a team where I played with the first D pair, and my workload doubled.
Because they didn't win as many battles taking the right angle.
Correct. So I had to go help them.
Ah.
So we didn't get scored on, but that affected my energy and that affected my ability to go down the ice.
Right.
Right. So when I had Ray and he could take care of business on his own, on a situation he should have, I got to go 200 feet. So obviously over 80 games, that adds up, right? And you don't realize it. So to me, when a forward has a chance to win a battle, win it. When a defenseman has to win a battle, win it. Don't rely on your teammate. Don't just tie a guy up. You have to learn how to get into a guy and play the puck. You do that. That's a magical skill for everybody.
Adam, I love that you brought that up, because when you look at taking the right angle, right? How much? Because I remember Kerry Fraser talked about most refs, when the bad call or a missed call occurs, it's because they're not in the right position, right? And so they don't necessarily see it, so they can't see the call. Makes sense. So, and when we're talking angles, we're talking a degree of, 5-degree difference in how you go into the corner, to ensure that you take the shortest route, which gets you there quicker, but also where, you can shield the guy off. How do you work on, because a lot of these are like instant, quick decisions where boom, the puck comes loose, now I got to go, right? So do you, like, when you set up angle drills, do you put cones and just draw a line and just get them used to taking out, okay, and the puck's here, this is your angle? How do you improve guys taking the right angle, which will then allow them to likely win more battles?
Well, actually we battle.
Okay.
We battle. Yeah, we do. We battle. And all the guys have it. Like, all the guys have it. So, like, for example, every single face-off, like, all three players battle. The centerman has to go against the other centerman on the draw, don't they?
Yeah.
So they're spinning into each other, trying to win the draw, trying to get a little leverage, right? And it takes 1,000, 1,000. And the winger on the D and the winger on the other D, they're both battling.
Mm-hmm.
Net front battle was what it's called, the net front battle, right? The guy's trying to get position. You guys got Hyman. He's fantastic at it, right?
Right.
He knows how to get position on a guy where it's almost like the D has to let him go because they can't do anything about it, right? So we do that stuff, and we do it in a way where we also include our hands, because you have to learn how to play the puck coming out of the battle, right? Because you have a split-second window where, you go into a corner with a guy.
Yeah.
So me and you go in the corner, and I got a position. I have a certain amount of time I have to win this before their second guy comes to me. And if I can pop it by that guy so that to my second guy, I mean, it's just, you can't even understand the difference for a player, what that means.
Right. Well, I love your explanation about how Ray Bourque, made it easier for you, which conserves your energy. And then now you can go on the offense and have more energy. Which defenseman today do you find are the best at doing what Bourque does, at winning the battles they should win, thus lowering the workload of their center iceman in the defensive zone?
Well, what's funny is a guy that comes to mind probably did it for a good 10 years and never got any credit for it is Ryan Suter.
Okay.
But he did get credit for it because he got paid handsomely, didn't he?
He did get a big contract.
Yes, he did. And and you know what? People wanted more points, but what they didn't realize was what he did well.
Right. Yes.
Which was that.
Yeah. Well,
when you can break your team out, like, so that we don't notice it, right? And I can't tell you how many times I'll send my D, which I got about 40 D right now, and it's like I'll show a defenseman get position on a guy and the puck's sitting there and they're not playing it because now you're trusting your centerman to come get it. Well, if he makes a mistake,
right,
and you get scored on, that's a minus. So if you're a defensive defenseman, how are you going to get that plus back?
Well, as Strutty always says, Oatsy, as a defenseman, he goes, never trust the forward. Always do the job yourself. Obviously, he's being someone else. But it's probably true in the defensive zone, right? Because the mindset is just different for most defensemen than forwards in the defensive zone even. Like, even Patrice Bergeron is maybe, probably the last 15 years, him, Kopitar, Barkov, probably the three best, two-way center icemen. But even then, at times, they're probably still cheating a little bit just because it's natural.
For sure. And, it goes in both ends. Like, if you're a forward going in on the forecheck, okay, you're going to bump the guy. Well, can you bump the guy in a way that you can now get possession of the puck? You don't have a lot of time. No, but there's time.
Yeah.
There's a window I call it a window of opportunity where you can make the next play before their second guy comes. If you do that, we're in the O zone and they're flat-footed. And it's one of the things you see in the league now. Everybody's gone to this spread-out offense, which I've been saying it's an absolute mistake. It's crazy. It's man-on-man hockey. We don't want man-on-man hockey. We want outnumbered situation hockey.
Now, obviously, yeah, because so you kind of want I was reading a book the other day talking about, like the offensive triangle in basketball and how it worked for a long time, and that hockey necessarily doesn't always innovate as much as they should. And you were, you're somewhat of a savant when it looks at the offensive game for sure, and how to see the ice and make plays, and even in the defensive zone. Do you see like the game's faster? There's no doubt, but I'm not sold that the game's smarter than it was before. And I'd argue that it might be less smart.
I would agree with you. Like the spread out offense is killing guys. So I did this last summer with probably 10 guys where it's just me and him on the ice. No goalie. And I throw a puck in the corner and I say, you can't leave the zone. Okay? Score on me. What? Score on me. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, you can't leave the zone. Score on me. So the guy kind of goes, okay, you weirdo. All right, well, and he starts to go in the corner, and I go underneath him. And he looks at me, and he goes, I go, what? He goes, well, you got me. I go, yeah, I got you. And there's no goalie. And you still can't score on me. And if you think about it, isn't that overtime?
Oh, it's become the worst at times. The circling back, I hate it.
Okay, so why do they circle back? Think about it. Why do they circle back for real? Why are we circling back?
Because they feel they've got no play at that point. So they circle back hoping that they can regroup and attack in a different angle.
Correct. And so they know that they've got no angle. They know they can't penetrate. They know they can't take a stupid shot and get caught out there. And they also know they're running out of energy. So they leave the zone to try and find a different angle. Hopefully the defense makes a mistake, but they don't shoot the puck. They leave the zone, right?
Yeah.
And then they change because the three guys on the inside have angles on the three guys on the outside. So why would we do that 5-on-5?
It's a great point.
Why would we do that on a 5-on-5? Why would we do that 5-on-5? If you know what, when you play a team, you pick any team in the league. Barkov, you said Barkov. Well, if you told me Barkov's going to stand at the blue line all night long, I'll give you a goal, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, you're up 1-0, but you got to stay there the whole night. Last time I checked, Crosby's in his corner every single shift, right?
Yeah.
Where's Leon every shift? Doesn't everybody see that?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like that. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, honestly, the spread out offense. At first, I can see why everybody got tricked a little bit because analytics say, "Oh, we got ozone time." Yeah, but nothing's happening.
Oh, yes, bang on. Yeah,
nothing's happening. We got 4 guys. We got 5 guys on the outside, 5 guys on the inside, and we can't really shoot it. But when we do, now my F3 is too high. He doesn't want to get caught going in, so we're one and done.
Yeah.
Like Jason, to this point where you look on a Saturday, if you count how many teams have 2 or less goals, it will blow your mind.
Oh, dude. You know what, Otzi? Man, you know me. I'm an offensive-minded guy, and I've been watching kind of the erosion. We had a little uptick in offense there for a few years, but I watch plays where the puck will be in the offensive zone for 30 seconds, and I got it in the and not, like they don't come close to even penetrating the net. Never mind getting a decent shot off.
No,
because
you know what? Like on a given day, there'll be 4 teams that don't even get 1 power play.
Yeah, because they're not attacking, right? They're not. It's easy to defend.
Yes, and obviously the Oilers have a couple magical guys that can sort of cover up for that, right? But not every team has that.
Yeah.
Like seriously, the teams are getting shut out. You're on the outside. You can't get in. You don't get rebounds. You don't make the defensive coverage turn the wrong way. And that's like overtime. You're trying to trick them, and you can't because you only get 3 guys, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it really is crazy. So think about it. If you're a third line guy that doesn't get power play time, how do you produce?
It can be a challenge. There's no doubt about that. A big challenge.
Sure, it's really hard. Yeah. Where a fourth line guy is regarded as an energy guy or physical guy, right?
Yep.
But if you're a third line guy, so you better be killing penalties if you don't get PP time, right? Because it is really hard to score in our league.
No, really hard. Yeah, for sure.
It is. It really is. You know, the other team's good. The goalie's good. And we're taking perimeter shots. It's very difficult.
Well, let's see, man. It's always good to talk. It's been way too long. We'll have to do this again soon, man. I appreciate it. It's great stuff. Anybody out there listening who wants to, what's the website they can go to if they, NHL player? I know, because you don't just work with NHL. There's a lot of young guys working their way up as well.
Yeah.
What's the website to go to?
It's called oatsportsgroup.com.
Oats. That's OATES sportsgroup.com. Oatsy, always great to catch up with you, man. Have an awesome day.
You too, buddy. Take care.
There you go. There's Adam Oates. Love talking hockey with that guy. And, I've talked to lots of players about their one-on-one interactions. Now, what? Some of the stuff is, hey, I don't want to talk about it publicly, which is totally fine. But just the conversation about little things they work on and different things like that. And it ranges all across the board. And just, taking the angle. You think about it, his analogy of Ray Bourque was fantastic. And because not only does Bourque get you the puck, but it saves you energy as your center iceman. And now if you're a first-line center iceman, well, now you got more energy to go up the ice. It's a huge difference. Quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously. The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthew. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores. With even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Saturdays were made for a great party and family fun that's second to none.
And this Saturday at Rogers Place, it's the Oil Kings mascot Louie's birthday bash, presented by Bloom Benefits.
Edmonton faces the Moose Jaw Warriors, and every fan in attendance gets a scratch card for their chance to win one of 1,000 Louie the Lion bobbleheads.
And at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is lion-sized.
Oil Kings Warriors, Louie's birthday bash, Saturday at 7.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Take 20% off any regular menu price pizza. Use code GAME25 at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Or welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And man, it's been way too long. I got to talk to Oatsy off air. We got to get him back on. You know what? You learn lots about the game. To me, I'm the more we can learn, the better. Like yesterday, I thought we had Steven Hauschka. He was excellent, just talking about culture and how to build. I loved his gardening analogy. It's fantastic with the soil and everything. And Oatsy talking about just I think things in the game at times that get overlooked that are so important. Being good at taking the right angle. winning one-on-one battles. And it's not, there is a part of grit. And the Angela Duckworth book that I'm reading right now, and Grit's fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody. But so there is a will factor that comes into play sometimes. But then you can give yourself better odds by taking the better angle more consistently. And it's not as easy as you think, because the game moves so quickly. And we're talking 3, 4, 5 degrees difference by the time you skate to that area. And if you're off 3 or 4 or 5 degrees, think about that. By the time you get there, if you're going 15 feet, that's going to be a difference. So I loved it. Hey, Gregor, great segment with Adam Oates, power skating instructor and hockey coach here. I love the segment. Thanks so much. Keep them coming. That one comes from Tim. Hey, Gregor, what a fantastic guest. Learned a lot. Thanks from the Riddler. Well, yeah, Oates is always great. Riddler, love it. Hey, guys, love Adam Oates. He was so good. Easily top 3 or 4 passes of all time from Husks. Yeah, you know what? He was. And I remember talking to him many years ago about when he played with Brett Hall, right? And when they were in St. Louis, like, it was you had Hall of Fame passer with a Hall of Fame shooter. And, and Adam Oates, was a pretty good player himself, right? When he went to Boston, then he played with Cam Neely, and then he also had the one 45 goal. I think he had 140 points. Like, he's one of the few guys in the NHL history to ever have 140 points. Yeah, I think it was 45 goals that year and something like 95 assists, something like that. I have to look it up, but it was almost 100. It was sick. And, he was a very skilled guy. But when he was in St. Louis, he talked about Brett Hall. And, like, he had 90 assists one year playing with Brett Hall. And he talked about and I remember when young Yakupov, and people have to look at Yakupov's one-timer because he would hit it once in a blue moon. It would be great. And Adam Oates said, "What are you talking? No, a good one-timer is a guy, you give it like you give him a semicircle around him. And here's his stick. And you give him a foot all around, and he will find a way to adjust his body, and he'll get the shot off. And it'll be hard. It might not always hit the net, but it'll be hard. And you didn't see him fan on pucks very often at all, and didn't have muffins or whiffers. And that's where you say a good one-timer. Like Leon Draisaitl might miss the net. Do you ever really see him whiff on a one-timer? And the great part about what's impressive to me most about Draisaitl is when he came, like, Brett Hall was always a shooter. Really didn't do much more. Right? Leon Draisaitl, if you look at the game when he got drafted, and go back and look at all the scouting reports on Leon Draisaitl, no one was talking about Leon Draisaitl, elite goal scorer. And now he's elite. He's in the top 3 goal scorers in the NHL. And maybe top 2 now with him and Matthews. Pasternak's probably right there. He'd be 3, but Draisaitl will probably be slightly ahead. Right? Ovechkin's probably still really close, for sure. But that wasn't his game. He's evolved his game. And he worked on Leon Draisaitl didn't have the one-timer early on. But he realized, hey, McDavid's the guy who has the puck the most on the power play. I got to find ways when to get open. Now take a one-timer from down low on the goal line. If you've noticed this year, we don't see the goal line shot as much. Now he's moved up a little closer to the dot, sometimes farther out, like the St. Louis goal. Right? So he's changing his position and his angle. And he's worked on getting it up high from sharp side. And to me, it's fascinating because he's just added wrinkles and elements to his game without losing the foundation, which was his passing and puck possession and how he can shield guys. Like, he talked about Draisaitl in the corner, and watch how many times. So he shields the body, and now the defenseman can't get the puck from him. Like, it's virtually impossible. How do you take it away from him? Very few. You're not just going to overpower him. He's 215 pounds. So that helps. But then you just look at the angle, and he's a little bit like Jagger and Forsberg. He's like, oh, I want to feel the contact. And then he just, embarrasses you sometimes off of it. And even Crosby's pretty damn good at it too. And he's a smaller guy. He's only like 5'10". Got tree trunks for legs. But those are 2 great examples of using your position. And so Oates talked about defensively how much it helps with Ray Bourque. But think about it from an offensive player. And you play certain angles and shield guys when the defender's coming. Even if the defender takes the right angle, all of a sudden you adjust to it. Now you can't get the puck. It's fantastic. Hey, guys, why wouldn't Nugent Hopkins have hired Oates over the years to improve his below-average faceoff? You got a commitment to the game, which it seems like he does. His faceoff percentage really hasn't improved that much. That's a fair question. It actually has slowly improved. I think he was a 50. I got to double check, but I thought he was like 53%. Like, it took a long time. That's valid, right? But it's, each player it's easy, for me to say, well, why wouldn't a guy do this? Right? Well, why didn't he do it? Because there's a lot of other factors. Maybe he felt like there was other areas of game he wanted to work on. The reasons why, I don't know, but just that's how it is, right? And when you look at it for a guy like Nugent Hopkins, he's not the strongest guy, and I think that plays a part for sure. And he's not really heavy. Like Oates was a little bit shorter, but Oates is stockier, right? He was always stockier. And so if I'm looking at McDavid's face-off percentage, he's 50%, which this season now, finally, I think right now this would be the second year in his career that he finishes at 50%. So he's actually improved, right? Like last year was his third best. And so the last 2 seasons have been his second and third best. Now it took a long time. So there's a little bit of experience there, maybe a little bit of strength, but it's a fair point. Is that something he could have worked on? Sure. And to me, I've always wondered about teams where, and now Adam Oates, and a lot of people say, why wouldn't one team hire him? Because Adam Oates I don't think one team is going to pay him enough to give up his company. Right? Because now he's working with, he's got 40 defensemen. So probably got 60, 80 forwards, right? In his group of guys that he works with. And you get to work with lots of different ones. So I know I talked to him about it a few years ago, and I don't think he'd ever work with one team now. It's just because he's got a lot of guys on different teams, right? Scheifele, McDavid, Ovechkin, like Matthews, going down the list. Top end guys, and there's a lot of bottom end guys too. So it's a good question, but comes down to the player and just kind of what they feel at their time of their career is important. Coming up, NBA trade deadline. We'll talk about all the deals. Of course, there was the Doncic one over the weekend. Yeah, Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors. There's been a few other deals. The Raptors have made a few separate deals for their team. The Raptors have actually played a little bit better as of late. But which one of these deals is going to have the biggest impact? That's obviously the question, right? The Lakers hope it's Doncic, but Doncic hasn't played since Christmas. So when he does come back, now how good is he going to be? I think he's going to be good, but I don't know how good he'll be at that time. Like next year, the year after that, sure. And now it is interesting due to the rules. He can't sign the max deal anymore. Now, he's still going to get ridiculous amount of money. So that's why I chuckle. Oh, he can't get the max. I'm like, does he need the max? Like, look at Jimmy Butler, Connor. His 2-year extension's $120 million. It's actually, I think, 121. But still, for 2 years. Like, trust me. Like, worrying about the max deal in the NBA, give me a break. Like, trust me. I think these guys are more than well compensated. I think they'll be all right.
One last year, Gregor, and I'm sure he can get like 50 mil. I'm sure he'll find a way to make it a little bit closer than it seems.
Yeah. He'll figure out a way to do it. We'll come back. We'll talk about that. We also have Ken Reed later on and Spec, Matt Verderame. We'll talk some Super Bowl. Can the Chiefs three-peat? Like, if you're not a Chief or an Eagles fan, are you cheering for the three-peat, or are you cheering to have the Eagles dethrone the champ? You don't have a dog in the fight. Now, obviously, if you're a Broncos fan, I think I know the answer. Right? Probably if a Bills fan, same thing. Or maybe not. We'll see. But I'm curious where fans are who don't have a dog in the fight and how you're viewing the Super Bowl. We'll get to that and more. But first, here's a comment on a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring right now. HVAC installers and plumbers. Starting bonus to the right candidate. The strong benefits, RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply today at legacyheating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Busy night on the ice in the NHL. I got the Sens, Lightning, Devils, and Golden Knights. The Capitals taking on the Flyers. The Blue Jackets host the Hockey Club. Hurricanes, Wild, Blues, Panthers, Avs in Calgary. Kraken hosting the Maple Leafs, and the Canucks taking on the San Jose Sharks. The NBA trade deadline coming on. The Miami Heat acquiring guard Davion Mitchell from the Raptors in exchange for PJ Tucker, a second-round pick in cash. The Raptors are expected to buy out Tucker in that one. Toronto also acquiring James Wiseman in cash from the Indiana Pacers. Wiseman, the former number 2 overall pick, is expected to miss the rest of the season after undergoing surgery in October to repair a torn Achilles. The Washington Wizards acquiring Marcus Smart and a 2025 first-round pick from the Grizz in a multi-team deal. Grizzlies receiving 2 second-round picks there. And the Atlanta Hawks trading Bogdan Bogdanovic and a 3 second-round picks to the Clippers for Bones Highland and Terrence Mann. CFL free agency. According to Farhan Lalji, the Elks have signed punter Cody Grace and receiver Tyson Middlemost, both formerly of the Calgary Stampeders. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Paul Sir of the Basketball Show, as well as Colin Livingston in the Cantor Racing Report. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports.
Events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Is your Power Play partner with a new website that puts the power in your hands, a 24/7 ordering and shipping within Edmonton and across Alberta. Score an account today at ewel.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, how you doing? Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show, Thursday edition, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. It's Thursday. Get in the game, the daily grant, where you can win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca, and while you're there, use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play at Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, PlayAlberta.ca. Jason Gregor alongside Connor Halley. The Edmonton Oilers have reassigned Noah Philp to Bakersfield. They got one game left. He's obviously not going to play in the game tomorrow night against Colorado. They're healthy. So Philp can go down. And while the Oilers are on the Four Nation break, he'll get, he'll stay in game shape. It's not like he's played a ton of minutes when he's up here, and it just makes perfect sense. So he'll get in the game, probably play for the Condors. They play tomorrow. They play Saturday. They play next Tuesday. They play the following Saturday and Sunday, and even the Wednesday. So he can play right through it, actually, right through. And then if they want, they recall him afterwards. He can, stay in game shape. So very smart move for the Oilers. And really, if you're Noah Philp, you're probably happy. You want to keep playing, right? You want to stay into it, and he'll go down there and he'll play a ton. He'll play, huge minutes with the Condors. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, as they are a new division, their service division, which is estimating their dispatch team. They have a new bucket truck that has a working height of over 485 feet, can be used on all exterior lighting, electrical repairs, and more at actionelectrical.net. As the NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and as always, it can be wild and wacky. It started with the big Doncic trade for Davis earlier, just ended early a few hours ago. Here today, Jimmy Butler goes to the Warriors. That's probably the biggest move lately. Paul Sir, host of the basketball show, I'm sure they'll be talking about this endlessly on the weekend. And Paul, which trade do you think will benefit one team the most?
Jason, I have to say that it's got to be Luka, because he's the biggest talent in this trade, and really one of the biggest talents in trade history to be moved like this mid-season. This just does not happen often at all, and you have to really go back in the history books, literally generations in some respects, to look at a trade that's this impactful. There are other significant trades, certainly. Davis going to the Mavericks. I mean, that's the first team All-NBA player that's going over to the Mavericks. The Butler move, of course, highly publicized with the much dissatisfied Jimmy Butler making Golden State his home for the next couple of years. So there's some impactful trades, but it has to be Luka.
Now, what about, because there's lots of moves here. I don't even think we have time. I would waste the whole episode going over all of them. Is there like a lower end trade that you look and say, man, I think this guy's really going to help him defensively, or this guy's going to come in as a sixth guy off the bench that you think is a really good move for one of these teams?
Well, I think the Lakers made another really good move today when they picked up Williams from Charlotte, the post, because that immediately fills the gap with a real good player, Mark Williams, for rookie Dalton Connect and the useless Cam Reddish, and a couple of picks. But they get a 23-year-old center who's had, again, some injury issues, but averaging 15 and a half and almost 10, 15 and a half points and almost 10 rebounds a game. So the center's plugged up now. Now you've got Luka and LeBron playing side by side with the big guy in the middle that can change shots and also can score. So to me, that secondary move, the big question mark was, what now will the Lakers do without Davis in the middle? Because neither LeBron nor Luka are noted for their defense, and they need somebody that can at least protect the rim, and they've addressed that. So that is another powerful move by the Lakers, who are really charmed in the history of big trades. And certainly this is these are a couple of the atomic bomb move with Luka, but now they make another big move with picking up Williams.
And this wasn't a trade, Paul, but the OKC Thunder, who are 40 wins and 9 losses so far this season, they just got Chet Holmgren back. He's missed 32 games and basically hasn't played all year for the most part, right? I think he's played 17 games. And what a monumental addition to right now the best team in the league.
That's tremendous. I mean, because Holmgren's borderline all-star material anyway. So if he is able to come back and stay healthy for the rest of the season, he just makes the Thunder so much better. It's not like he comes back as a high offensive consumer that's going to take away from the great play, including the most recent 50-point game by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. My gosh, the guy is just unstoppable. But now you've got Holmgren, who's a great release when teams are running a second player to get the ball out of Gilgeous-Alexander's hands. You've got Holmgren, who's a real good three-point shooter, good finisher around the basket, and blocks a lot of shots. So tremendous. Plus, they picked up Tease as well as a backup to Holmgren. So now they're even more solidified in the middle with a quality backup center. It can give you at least a few minutes a game if you're going to rest Holmgren or bring him back gradually. So, yeah, that like you have to you don't throw the term formidable out that often, but man, the Thunder have been fantastic so far, and now they're even more formidable.
Paul Zerr joins us, host of the basketball show here on Sports 1440 every Saturday at 10 a.m. Brandon Ingram goes to the Raptors from the Pelicans for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first rounder and a second rounder in 2031. What do you make of this move for the Raptors?
Well, it's another of the Raptors' long, athletic, not positionless, but that type of player that they really gravitate towards. Brown's departure was an inevitability from the time he came to the Raptors. And most of the time he's been with the Raptors, aside from a few quality games, he's been injured and really not a factor at all. Kelly, unfortunately, is always in the mix when players are traded, but you only feel so bad for a guy making millions of dollars. So, but bringing Ingram in, the thing he does do that no one else on the Raptors does is he can score a lot of points night in and night out if he's healthy. He's much more of a polished, finished offensive product than, let's say, Scotty Barnes, who will give you 28 one night and 8 the next. You know, and a lot of in-betweens, a lot of teens in between. So Ingram really shores them up offensively. And I think adds to their depth. They've had some real pleasant surprises on their second-round draft picks. Pirtle's playing really well. You've got Quickly healthy again. RJ Barrett's having his best season. Barnes is really playing into form. So this, I think, is a real good move for the Raptors. And, of course, it all hinges on Ingram, who has been injury-prone, staying healthy. But if he does, the Raptors are quite a bit better today than they were yesterday.
Paul, what do you make of the Jimmy Butler trade?
Well, you know, I'm not a big Butler fan. And, I mean, I'm not a Butler fan simply because everywhere he goes, he blows the house up after a little while. And, you know, going out to Golden State, it is interesting because now Butler's going out playing with Steve Kerr, playing for Steve Kerr, rather, playing along, of course, the great Steph Curry. So he's not going into a place where he's the big dog right out of the gate. He's going to go in as a second option, and he definitely strengthens them on both ends of the court. But, you know, will he be a good teammate or not? It seems like when Jimmy Butler wants to be a good teammate, he is. It's just unfortunate in every location he's been in, that wears thin after a period of time. But it's a 2-year deal. He's near the end of his career. It does, like I said, make the Warriors better. And, the Warriors may, it'll be real interesting to see how Butler coexists along with the other Warrior veterans. But it's a team that knows how to win championships. Butler is a winner. So if he comes and he gives it his best, the Golden State Warriors, again, are a much better team now than they were without Jimmy Butler. And you know what? It was Andrew Wiggins had the real good year a couple of years ago, and he's just done what Andrew Wiggins did before that, which is just inexplicably become ineffective and seemingly disengaged. So I think picking somebody up like Butler is really an important move for the Warriors, and they had to do something because, just struggling to stay at 500 and not making any moves just doesn't fit the Warrior culture.
What about the Fox trade?
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. Like, it's a delightful thought. Looking at Fox playing alongside Wembanyama to have, two young talents like that, that's very dynamic. And as the Spurs are on the rebound, they've got some other good pieces that are really coming into their own. But the emergence of Wemby becoming one of the real forces in the NBA and a player like Fox who can really light it up, they all of a sudden become real interesting as well, as long as they can gel nicely over the course of the next couple of months. Because, you're almost getting to the stretch run in the NBA, as hard as that is to believe, but we're past the midway point, well past it. Yeah. And now that this move has been made, that makes the Spurs even more intriguing as the playoffs loom, because if they get better and better, you sure as heck hate to face that team in the first round of the playoffs.
Lastly, Paul, what's coming up in the basketball show this weekend?
Well, like you said, we are going to obsessively beat to death the NBA trades that have taken place here and their impacts on the league. We're going to have Barnaby Craddock on, a longtime head coach of the University of Alberta Golden Bears. We're going to bring in a couple of really good guests from the States and from Toronto. We'll talk about the Raptors specifically, but we'll have Ben Golliver on again from the Washington Post. You know, he's at the Luka press conference, and I mean, he's just practically in the Laker locker room every day. So we're going to get a real good in-depth insight into what's going on in LA right now, but then all across the league. We'll do some 3x3 stuff and, just talk about all things basketball, and it'll be another great Saturday.
Awesome. We look forward to it, Paul. We'll be tuning in. Have a great day.
You too, Jason. Thanks so much.
That is Paul Sir, host of the Basketball Show. Tune in this Saturday, 10 until noon on Sports 1440. Coming up, it is Super Bowl Sunday. 3 days away. Eagles and the Chiefs. We're going to break it down with a guy who goes into all the numbers. We're going to go look at some of the matchups because, hey, you get into a game like this, you've got 2 weeks for both the coaches, coordinators. Everybody's been watching film. There shouldn't be any major surprises. And the Chiefs' history tells you, unless it's the Bucks, that they'll be ready. We'll see. The Eagles, man, they can run the rock. Can the Chiefs stop them? How the Chiefs going to attack them offensively? We'll find out. Next, the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Travels the world. Buongiorno, Italy. Nothing beats immersing oneself in another culture. Ooh, look at that. What an intricate design. Huh, wow. What a weird way to turn on the shower. OMG, a dedicated porcelain bidet. Do I try it? Well, when in Rome. Oh my, this beats that robot toilet in Japan.
All plumbing roads lead to Mr. Rooter. 90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa, and you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henday.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win cups with salad.
Island Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Style and Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goals. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more, up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs, and up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Baby, now we got back.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the PWHL Takeover Tour, featuring a matchup between the Toronto Scepters and Ottawa Charge, Sunday, February 16th at Rogers Place. Premium seating is now available. Check out the available suites, theater boxes, and loge tables. Head to rogersplace.com/PWHL.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Yeah, there must be a prop bet on how many times they'll show Taylor Swift on the broadcast. I would think somebody has that. Just check it out at playalberta.ca. But the prop bets in the NFL are crazy for the Super Bowl. It's a big deal. Everybody has a lot of fun with it. So why not? But I'm more interested in the actual game itself. So let's get to the NFL report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. If all of a sudden the old furnace conks out tonight or on the weekend, give them a call. They'll come fix it. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. And the big game is this Sunday. The Chiefs, looking to do what no team in NFL history has ever done, win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. And you have the best rushing team in the league, the Philadelphia Eagles, as the opposition. Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated joins us. And Matt, on paper, this looks like it should be a heck of a matchup. So let's start with kind of, the Captain Obvious one. And I know that you break down a lot of film, and I think the Eagles didn't get 100 rushing yards like 5 times this year. It's pretty rare, but I think they had more 200 rushing yard games, and they didn't have less than 100. Like, they can run the ball. How do you think the Chiefs can slow them down?
Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, look, I think there's one thing about the Chiefs over the years that's been true. And if you look at any big game, statistically and with the eye test, it's backed up. When they decide that they're going to limit a certain thing, they do it.
Yeah.
They take it away. I mean, in all the years that Spags has been their defensive coordinator, they've never given up 100 yards rushing to one player in a playoff game, ever. Like, they just, and that includes Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, and they like, I expect them to stay mostly in their nickel defense unless the Eagles go with heavy personnel, then they'll go to base. But they will play Mike Pennell inside, who's an excellent run stuffer. They'll play, they'll move Chris Jones around. They'll allow Karlaftis to set the edge. They'll put their rookie safety Jaden Hicks, who's more of almost like a dime linebacker at times. They'll put him in the box. They'll bring Justin Reed down. And I also think partially they're just going to live with look, if Barkley runs for 90 yards on 20 carries, even 100 yards, they're not going to care. They're just going to say, all right, like, that's fine. As long as they run for 200,
right?
Like, we can live with that. I think there's going to be a little bit of that too. Hey, listen, he's going to get his. We just can't let him go off for a 70-yard run.
Right. Yeah, that's the key, right? Like, Philly seems to wait, and then boom, he breaks a 75-yarder, an 80-yarder, and then that changes the whole complexion of the Russian attack. Health is something that, the Eagles got some guys back. The Chiefs, have been getting healthier as the season's gone along. And to me, I think it's great. You want to have the best players on, the available players on for both teams. But let's say Jalen Hurts, can Brown make an appearance here? Like, is he even on the roster for the Eagles in the playoffs? Like, I can't think of the last time, like a real star-studded receiver has done so little in a postseason for a team.
Well, they don't throw the ball. I mean, they're never forced to throw the football. Now, the Eagles have had, really, if you think about the 3 playoff games they've played this year, every game's been an ideal scenario for them. Every game. The Packers game literally started with the Packers fumbling the opening kickoff. And that game was just instantly 7-0. And they could kind of dictate play and run the ball and do what they wanted to do. And to be fair, the defense played very, very well, and so the Packers never really threatened them. The Rams game. That game, immediately, the Eagles get the ball, they get up on them, Rams have a couple of turnovers, so on and so forth. Washington, Eagles get the ball, they're down 3-0 to start, first play of the game, 61-yard run for a touchdown, and then they force a turnover and 14-3, and they're, the way they go. The question for me in this game is going to be, not to get away from the question about Brown, but I think it kind of feeds into this. Like, can the Eagles have another ideal start in this game? Or, like, what happens if it's 14-3 Kansas City? Then what?
Yeah.
And that's where I think Brown could get really involved, because at that point, you've got to throw the ball. Now, are the Chiefs going to put their all-pro corner, Trent McDuffie, on him? I think they probably put him on Devonta Smith. They probably put Jalen Watson as a bigger corner on Brown. Watson's a very good corner. He's not McDuffie, but he's very good. He's physical at the catch point. But, Brown is a great player. Brown's a better receiver than Watson as a corner. So you probably take your chances on that. But that, to me, is where these receivers come into play, is if this game is not an ideal start for Philly, and you got to start throwing the ball, that's probably where you're going to see more of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith.
Do you think Hurts can throw the ball well enough to win?
No. Not if the game becomes reliant on him. Like, I think he can be a feature, not a focal point of this game. And I've seen a lot of people, like, I'm down in New Orleans. I've heard all week about how, hey, 2 years ago, which I was also at that game in Arizona, Hurts played this great game, and he did. He was spectacular that night.
Yep.
It's also different, though, in one regard that I think a lot of people have really overlooked. That team 2 years ago had Shane Steichen as its offensive coordinator. And they had a lot more answers built in, play in and play out for Jalen Hurts. They were able to maneuver a lot more at the line of scrimmage. They went in with a lot more motion. They manipulated coverages with certain things they did at the line. They do almost none of that now. Kellen Moore, with this offense, without Jason Kelsey and a first-year center and Cam Jurgens, obviously he's been on the team for 40 years, first-year starter center. It's different now. They can't do the things, and they don't do the things at the line of scrimmage they once did. And when they played last year in the regular season, I covered that game at Arrowhead for SI. The Chiefs sacked Hurts 5 times, picked them off, and gave up 100, and I think it was 40 passing yards.
Yeah.
Like, they just went after him relentlessly in that game. I think Hurts, if they're going to win, Hurts has to be part of the game. If they get behind and he's got to throw 35 times, I think that's a very hard way for Philadelphia to win this game.
Matt Verderam joins us talking Super Bowl 59. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles. And, Patrick Mahomes, Matt, the thing that the Chiefs do well, you talked about how they don't give up, they have a game plan. Guess what? We're not giving up 100 rushing yards. No one's ever done it, and they've been very good at it. The thing about the Chiefs, I find, is they're so effective at the key times in a game. And I know it's like, I'm not a big believer of, the refs are helping and blah, blah. The difference is when the Chiefs do get a break, and teams get breaks, when they get a break, they always seem to capitalize on it. They're like, we got a break. Now let's take advantage of it. Right? They're fantastic in their decision-making process, especially late in games. But even as the discipline of this team, does that get overlooked, do you find, in your eyes? Like the Chiefs are, the penalties. I think the Chiefs are a very disciplined team. That's part of their DNA and their character is they don't self-implode, and they rarely, give the other team, another set of downs or another gifted opportunities that they seem to get.
Well, yeah, look, I think there's a lot of, you look at, it's almost like a baseball play, like a great hitter, and the count's 1-1, and it's a borderline pitch, and the ump calls it a ball. And that guy statistically, when he's ahead in the count, hits like 400, but when he's behind in the count, hits $170. Yeah, well, yeah, that guy's a great player. If he gets a borderline call, he's probably going to rip a double. Like, he's going to get on base. And I think that, that's been true of great teams throughout the years. Like, if you give them a little bit of an edge, they're going to kill you. And I think with the Chiefs, listen, they've been victims of calls. They've been beneficiaries of calls. Every team in the league, it's true. I will say this, and I think the conspiracy theories about it shows who among us is the dumbest on the road to work, right? But I do think there's an element of they have somewhat, to borrow an NBA term, they've earned the whistle a little bit. If there's a real borderline play in the game, they're probably going to get the call. Because they're just looked at as like, you know what? Like they probably are on the right side of it. And, they also, I think the other side of this is too, they put so much pressure on the other team to play perfect There's a reason those teams
Yeah.
hold them and grab them and trip them, and because you go into a game. Well, Kansas City's going to go into this game respecting Philadelphia, but also thinking, hey, if we make a mistake or two, we can probably overcome it, win the game. Philadelphia's going to go into this game and go, we got to be perfect, because if we're not perfect against this team, probably going to lose, and that leads to a little bit of panic and desperation, and maybe you hold a guy when you don't have to, where you're trying to get a hit on Mahomes and you hit him a little late because you're trying to make a play, and that stuff all adds up. And, we see that time and again against Kansas City.
Yeah. Like, so you look at Patrick Mahomes, and I know you broke down his films for years, Matt. Like, if you're the defense of the Eagles, what can you do to not have Mahomes beat you?
Okay. Jason, to me, this is the entire game.
Okay.
If they don't get to him in 2.5 seconds consistently in this game, they're losing.
Yeah.
That's the game. That is the whole. We sometimes, look, we all sit here, and God knows I'm guilty of it, and we pour over a million different angles, and okay, well, if this happens, if that happens. Listen, I understand there's a world where they don't get to him and they win because the Chiefs just have 5 turnovers or something. If the Chiefs play like they normally do, and the Eagles cannot wreck the game with a 4-man pass rush, they're losing. Because I watched Brady for 20 years, where you'd sit there and look at New England and go, okay, well, it's Chris Hogan and Brandon LaFell and Malcolm Mitchell and Danny Amendola, and then also Gronk or also Edelman. And you'd sit there and look at the other team, go, they match up here, they match it. And then the game would start, and Brady'd have 3 seconds, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Amendola's about to have 8 catches for 120 yards. Yeah. It's the same thing. When you look, I respect the Eagles. They're very good defensively. If he's got 2.5, 3 seconds, it's over. He's going to find somebody. He's either going to run, or he's going to throw to Worthy, or throw to Brown, or throw to Kelsey, or throw to Gray, or swing it out to one of the backs, or he's going to hit. It's just, I think if you're Philly, that's the only answer. You can, because they don't care if they run them, but the Chiefs could run for 12 yards in this game to win.
Yeah.
The Eagles have to get pressure with 4. If they don't get pressure, or they got a blitz, they're done. They're going to lose.
Do you think they can get pressure with 4?
I think there's avenues to do it. Look, Joe Thuney is an all-pro guard playing left tackle. He has been fine at left tackle. He's not been great, not been bad. He's been fine. They've helped him as well, which is not something they normally do with their tackles. Jawan Taylor, to me, is kind of the key in this game. Like, he's a little misunderstood, where, he's come over 4 years, $80 million to the Chiefs, and he has been a penalty machine. He led the league in penalties last year. This year, he was tied for second most. He took 14. A lot of those are pre-snap, but every once in a while, he'll get called for a hold, gets a little grabby. And so if you're Philly, you want to take advantage of that. The flip side with Taylor is if he doesn't take a penalty, he's usually very good. Like, he's a good pass protector. A lot of his stuff is mental, it's self-inflicted, and that's where I think it's a key here. If they can get him to maybe, hey, you know what, take a penalty early on a false start or illegal formation, he takes a hold, like, that might kill 1 or 2 drives. The Chiefs are excellent inside at center and right guard with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. And then there's Mike Caliendo at left guard, who has been somewhat of a liability. He slid into the starting role when Thuney kicked outside. He's not been awful, but he's definitely the weak link. Now, the interesting thing in this game is Jalen Carter almost always lines up over the right guard, which if that stays true to form, it's going to be him and Trey Smith. Do the Eagles say, we're going to put him on Caliendo? And if that happens, I would expect the Chiefs to slide and have Humphrey help out, but then that opens up some other things. I think the Eagles can get pressure. The big question is, can they turn pressure into negative plays? Because there's nobody better in the league at taking pressure and just disregarding it, making the play anyway than Mahomes. You've got to get him on the ground. You've got to get him to fumble. You've got to get him to throw a pick when he's getting hit. Like, for the pressure's not enough. You've got to get him to the ground. And that's been an issue with Fangio over the years. He's played Mahomes 8 times when he's been a D coordinator or head coach. Forget the 0-8 record. In those 8 games, his defenses have sacked Mahomes 11 times. That's why he's 0-8 against them. Like, you've got to find a way to get him on the ground in this game.
Easier said than done. It's like you look at that game the 49ers played. I thought they played a really good game and they still lost. Like it's going to be hard to defeat the Chiefs. I think the Eagles offense, keeping the Chiefs offense off the field will definitely be a big factor in this one. Matt, who are you picking?
I pick Kansas City in this game. I think it's a good game. I think it's a good game. I think it's a quality game. I don't think it's a blowout. I'd be really surprised if either one of these teams pull the other one out. I think it's something like 27-23, maybe if the Chiefs really play very well, maybe it's like 30-20. But I think it's probably more like a one-score game. I just think in the end, it's Mahomes and it's Andy Reid and it's Spagnuolo. And like, if there's 5 moments that decide the game, they're probably coming out on the right side of 3 or 4 of them. It's who they've been. I just can't pick against them. I think they'll win the game.
Matt, it's been great talking as always, man. Enjoy the game.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jason. Take care.
There you go. That's Matt Verner. I'm from Sports Illustrated, man. Great rundown. And I think he's bang on. And it's easier said than done. And the Chiefs, the other thing we talked yesterday with Steve Hauschka, the Super Bowl winner, about, culture and continuity. And that's what the Chiefs have. You look from their head coach, their players know what their defensive coordinator's calling, and they know how to implement it. And then you've got Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, and they got guys who know how to get open, and you got a quarterback who never seems to panic. Or I should say rarely. Everybody panics once in a blue moon. And, I think Mahomes has to have an off game for the Chiefs to lose. Now, that can happen if they can get consistent pressure. You get pressure on any quarterback, I don't care how experienced you are. Guess what? Makes their job more difficult. But can they do it? I love seeing things we've never seen before in sports. So looking for a three-peat. But I got a few buddies who are big Eagles fans, so I'm kind of like, hey, good for them. My son's a Chiefs fan, so obviously I'll be, And he has a hockey game, actually. So he has a hockey game on what is going on? So he's quite annoyed. No, I'm sure once he gets a game, he'll love it. But he's kind of like, what do you mean have a game? He's never had a game on a Super Bowl Sunday, but has a game Sunday night. So won't get to watch it. We'll come back and we have lots to discuss. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox.
What awaits you on the road to come. But with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Saturdays were made for a great party and family fun that's second to none.
And this Saturday at Rogers Place, it's the Oil Kings mascot Louie's birthday bash, presented by Bloom Benefits.
Edmonton faces the Moose Jaw Warriors, and every fan in attendance gets a scratch card for their chance to win one of 1,000 Louie the Lion bobbleheads.
And at every home game, score Calmont Kids Food combos for $10 or less. The value is lion-sized.
Oil Kings Warriors, Louie's birthday bash, Saturday at 7.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world-famous Super Dog.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Metal Supermarkets is locally owned, locally operated. They love this city and serving its people. We're talking metal cut to your exact specifications fast. In fact, at Metal Supermarkets, they're as Edmontonian as flip-flops in February when it magically inches above zero. Just need some sunscreen on my back, would you mind?
Ew.
Yeah, probably should have manscaped first. Any project, any size, count on your kindred spirits at the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com. Start your adventure with a 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander at Cross Mitsubishi. Lease it for $299 a month with $49.99 due at signing. Enjoy 0% financing, a $1,000 trade rebate, and a $500 loyalty rebate. Equipped with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Offer ends February 28th. Visit Cross Mitsubishi at 9605 34th Avenue or online at crossmitsubishi.ca. Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all of your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.347. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on a lovely Thursday afternoon on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Text or call. Same number. In our inbox, we have a lot of texts. Hey, guys, 3 teams all year scored over 23 points on the Eagles. The game's in a dome. Barkley will put up that by himself from Triple C in a truck. Big Eagles fan. Now, and it's a fair statement, but like regular season is just different, right? It just is. And now, which teams? I have to go back and look. Cons, maybe you can find who are the teams who scored 23 points or more on the Eagles. Now, why 23? That seems like a random number, right? Did they have a lot score 22? I'm just curious. Now, did any of those teams have they won consecutive Super Bowls? Are they 17-0 in their last 17 games decided by one score or less? Like, to me, it doesn't really matter what the Eagles have done to other teams because those other teams aren't the Chiefs. They just aren't. Now, the Eagles are really good. Don't get me wrong. Right? The Bills are really good. Lots of teams are really good. The Chiefs, just like the Patriots for a while, they just find ways to win. Like, if you look back on the two of the championships for the Patriots, you'd think, man, they probably shouldn't have won because the Seahawks should have ran the ball from the 1 yard line, right? You would think, hey, who am I betting on? I'm betting on Marshawn Lynch. Then you're up 28-3. Like the Falcons shouldn't have self-imploded that much. I give the credit to the Patriots, no doubt, but you're the Falcons. That's one of the worst and probably the worst collapse. I know the Houston Oilers game. Yeah, I get that game. But it wasn't in the Super Bowl. I think that's the worst collapse. And I'm trying to think of, it'd be like leading 4-0 in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Now, I know Leaf fans led 3-0 in Game 7 and lost. But to me, it's like you're in Game 7 of a Stanley Cup Final and you blow a 4-0 lead. Even a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Final. To me, it'd be kind of the equivalent of that. Right? It's 28-3. It's basically 4 scores. Right? So it could say 4-0. The way I'm looking at it. And they blew it. Hey, good for the Patriots, no doubt. But to me, that's more of a game that the Falcons blew in the second half. So, hey, guys, the love for the Chiefs this year is funny. Mahomes scored over 30 once. They couldn't even move the ball against the Texans. Eagles will win by more than a touchdown from El Nate. Well, when you say the love for the Chiefs, what's their record? They're 17-2. Does it matter how many points they score? The Patriots didn't win every Super Bowl with an out-of-this-world offense. Right? Some years, you're going to win with defense. Some years, you're going to win with offense. All I know is the Chiefs are the best team at third down conversions, and they're the best team at efficiency in the fourth quarter when it matters the most, when the games are close. And that's why I think the biggest mistake I hear you just got to keep it close. No, you don't. Keeping it close gives you nothing. All keeping it close does is allow you to lose a close game. That's what recent history is telling you about the Chiefs. If the Eagles are going to win, they got to get up on the Chiefs. You got to force the Chiefs to have to maybe, force it downfield a little bit. But no one's done that, Cons. Can you remember the last time that the Chiefs really had to get outside their comfort zone in a big game?
Probably the Bucks Super Bowl when they lost. And they had no offensive line, and the Bucks just took it to them.
Yeah, they're banged up in that game.
That's fair point. The offensive line was a weakness that year, right? And that's what really spurred, I think, this on was they had that emphasis: go get Creed Humphrey, go bring players in free agency. But you can't keep it close against the Chiefs because, unfortunately, they're just going to find a way to win. With those clutch moments, they make the big plays. That being said, Gregor, I'm taking the Eagles this year. I am on the Eagles bandwagon. I think Saquon Barkley can be the X factor in this game because he's so versatile in the ways that you can use him. You can run him inside. You can run him outside. You can get Chris Jones running across the field and get him a little bit tired. I think that could be a big advantage for the Philadelphia Eagles. Take what I say with a grain of salt because I am a Kansas City Chiefs detractor. I want to see them fall. But I just really like this Eagles team. You can't let it be close. You can't let it come down to, a play where the Chiefs can benefit from a hold or, you just can't let that happen because like Matt Verderame said, and this is not new, how many times did the New England Patriots during their dynasty run get those calls? Like you kind of earn them in a sense. All Brady had to do was look at the ref. He was getting that flag. So you can't keep it close. You got to go out there and you got to be on the attack the entire game. You have to be aggressive. 4th and 1. Believe in your defense to get the stop if you can't convert on the first down. Like I think you have to go out there and score touchdowns. You can't settle for 3. It has to be 7. And I do think this Eagles team can get it done, though.
It's going to be a great game for sure.
For sure.
I'm looking. I shouldn't say. I hope it's a great. I think it's going to be a great game. I hope it's going to be a great game. So we'll see what happens come Sunday. Should be awesome. And hey, Gregor, the Eagles were 16-3. Yeah, I'm not discounting that the Eagles are good, but the Eagles aren't. They don't have the same track record as the Chiefs. Do you trust their quarterback, which is the most important position in football, with the ball in his hands as much as you trust Patrick Mahomes with the ball in his hands? There's no one on the planet that's going to say unequivocally that you trust Jalen Hurts with the game on the line as much as you trust Mahomes. Now, that doesn't mean he can't play well, but there's no one that's going to say Jalen Hurts is equivalent and equal even. Not better, even equal to Patrick Mahomes. No chance. You're not. The Eagles win because they run the ball over everybody. It's been great. Their offensive line's the best offensive line in the league. Barkley's had an unreal season. And now you're going up against a team that has never allowed 100 yards to one individual in a playoff game with Spagnuolo as their DC. Ever. So can they do it? Maybe. I think for the Eagles to win, 2 things. Matt mentioned pressure on Mahomes. Valid. I think the Eagles have to be able to extend a lot of their drives. Doesn't mean they're all going to end in touchdowns, but extend lots of drives, eat up the clock, and keep the offense off the field. And then they got to score, obviously. If they don't have if they're leading by 3 points going in the fourth quarter, even though they're down by 3, I'd still say the Chiefs are the favorite. Just because history has said time and time and time again that they will make the right plays at the right moment. Now, eventually, maybe that'll end. And so maybe it'll end on Sunday. But even the most staunch Eagles fan, you have to understand why people are excited about the Chiefs. Because just look what they've done. They know how to win tight games. And I'll be stunned if this is a blowout either way. I'd be stunned if it happened. I think it'll be a tight game. I don't even know what the line is, Cons, in this game. I haven't even looked at playalberta.ca. I probably should. I'd love it to be high scoring. I'm not expecting it to be high scoring, sadly.
Chiefs 1-point favorites,
Yeah.
over under 48.5.
Yeah, so 1-point favorite. It's like a pick 'em, right? Like no one's disrespecting the Eagles. It's just the Chiefs are the 2-time defending champ. Of course they should be the favorite. There's no reason not to be. They have a better record. Now, they're a 1-point favorite. It's not a big favorite, but they're a slight favorite, as I think they should be. Hey, Gregor, Noah Philp, what does that mean for the Oilers? It just means he's going to, he didn't play last night, right? They've got their 4 lines. They're probably going to stick with those lines, I would think. Although, they can always change, but you can go with Henrique and Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl and McDavid as your centers. And if that's what you're going to do, Noah Philp, he's not better than any of them, right? So he'll go down. He might not come back. If they're going to run with those 4 as center, right? Then he's not going to come back. He's not going to play ahead of any of them as a center iceman. Now, do they eventually move Nugent Hopkins back to the wing? Fair question. But if Jeff Skinner can produce in your top 6, right? And Arvidsson, they both scored last night. Then maybe Nugent Hopkins stays as your center in the bottom 6, him and Henrique. Right? They kill penalties. Nugent Hopkins on the power play. They're bottom 6 centers. Pretty good. And I think it shows then even more for me the need to get a scoring winger. And definitely a winger with some speed. Because the Oilers, with Holloway, Fogle, and McLeod out, Arvidsson's not as fast as Fogle. Well, Nugent Hopkins isn't as fast as McLeod even, if we're going to look at a center ice position, but he was on the team last year. And Jeff Skinner definitely isn't as fast as Dylan Holloway. So to me, they've lost some speed. Now, I like Kapanen's speed. I don't mind Podkolzin's. Right? The Oilers aren't like they're not a tugboat as far as slow, but I think they could use a little bit more speed. Speed and tenacity with some skill would be an unreal combination. Right? Trent Frederick. Be an interesting name for me. What's the cost going to be? Hey, Gregor, do you think there's any chance you get Carlo and Frederick? That would be an unreal trade. Right now, Brandon Carlo's got multiple years left on his deal. At $4 million, I think he's a bargain. God, if you could convince the Bruins to do it, and hey, I can't say it's never going to happen. I would say it's unlikely, but I can't say never because who thought Ekholm was going to get traded? But I would say unlikely that Boston moves Carlo. You think with the salary cap going up as much as it is, his value increases even more because of his cap hit. So I'd be surprised that they move him. But there's been guys moved before where I'm like, they traded him? What? So you never know. But we'll see. Stan Bowman, when Stan Bowman took over the job, there wasn't a lot of work to do. Right now, he did make a Podkolzin trade. It worked out well. That the Kapanen off waivers, smart decision, great. Now they went Klingberg, but we'll see. What's he going to do between now and the next 4 weeks? Because the trade deadline is 4 weeks tomorrow. And that's kind of where he's going to make his money. Hey, Greg, what's your thoughts on Jordan Greenway? To be honest, not much. Way too inconsistent for me. Banged up right now. This season he's being banged up. What does he make? $3 million. Final year of his deal. I guess you're not going to have to give up much, right? The Sabres are going to have to eat half, so it's 1.5. Sure, if I had to, but he doesn't really move the bar for me a whole bunch, if I'm being honest, because he's never been able to be consistent. You watch him and you're like, geez, this guy, big, strong, can skate. He's physical. He has a lot of things that make you think he should be able to do it. Right? But he hasn't played since what? December. Cons, look it up. I think it's the 14th or the 15th, right? With his last game. So, he hasn't played in 2 months. So you get a guy and that's great. But how long is it going to take him to get back up to speed? I don't know. He'd have to play. He's got to get in a game or two before the break. Because if he comes out of the break, you're talking 5 games. I don't know if that's enough for me. And even at retained salary of 1.5 mil, who is he taking out on your left wing? Is he doesn't kill penalties, so he's not taking out Janmark. So is he taking out Kapanen? Is he's bigger, He's more physical, sure, but is he necessarily better? I'm not sold. I'm not sold. I would definitely look at Trent Frederick. Now he'll cost more too, for sure. But I like him. Gregor, bring back Cece. Well, Dallas just traded for him, my man. So no, he's in Dallas. And geez, another NHL GM values Cody Cece. Maybe he wasn't as bad as some suggested. Just saying. Quick break. We'll return. TR will join us next after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Right now, the mid-winter tire clearance event is on now. You can save up to 20% on all in-stock winter tires, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. Details at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy night tonight in the NHL. Starts at 5 with the Sens and Lightning. Devils host the Golden Knights. Caps taking on the Flyers. Utah in Columbus. Wild hosting the Hurricanes. The Panthers in St. Louis. Flames, Avs, and Maple Leafs taking on the Kraken. And the Sharks hosting the Vancouver Canucks. In the association trade deadline come and gone. Toronto Raptors sending Davion Mitchell to Miami Heat for PJ Tucker, a second-round pick in cash. The Raptors expected to buy out Tucker. Toronto also acquiring James Wiseman in cash from the Indiana Pacers. Wiseman was a former number 2 overall pick. He's expected to miss the remainder of this season after undergoing surgery to repair a torn Achilles. In October, the Washington Wizards acquiring Marcus Smart and a 2025 first-round pick from the Grizz in a multi-team deal. The Grizz getting 2 second-round picks in that one, and the Atlanta Hawks trading Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks to the Clippers for Bones Highland and Terrence Mann. On the court, you got the Celtics and Mavs tonight. Rockets take on the Timberwolves. Lakers host the Warriors. Kings in Portland, and the Clippers up against the Pacers. In CFL free agency for Farhan Lalji, the Elks have signed hunter Cody Grace and receiver Tyson Middlemost, both players formerly of the Calgary Stampeders. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Terry Ryan as well as Sportsnet Ken Reed, plus another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Honey, look, there's a 75-inch TV on sale for the big game.
No.
Oh, come on. We could be the football house in a couple of weeks for Super Sunday.
No.
Oh, but I already invited David, Rhett, and Bryden. And you know Bryden, he's bringing his cousin who we brought to our wedding.
What? No. Ew. That guy was hitting on my mom all night. They are not coming over. Go to On the Rocks.
Yes, On the Rocks. Okay, OnTheRocksYEG.com. Oh, look, only $30 each. We get a seat, prepaid moveset, team t-shirt, chance to win $1,000 cash. Hey, babe, great idea.
Love you. Go have fun at OTR.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The moments we need healthcare are some of our most vulnerable. You deserve a system that supports you. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world-famous Super Dog.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Epcor. Stormwater ponds in Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a community league or city rink that's safe for you, your family, and friends. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play in the month of February at PlayAlberta.ca. And of course, hey, we talked about the Super Bowl, Chiefs and the Eagles. Chiefs a 1-point favorite. Pretty much pick them. Although I guess I don't know, 29-28. Seriously, come on, it's basically straight up who you're taking. So good luck at PlayAlberta.ca as we welcome to the show former NHLer, first round draft pick, 2-time author, and starring right now in the new season of Shoresy. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing, my man?
I'm all right. Good to see you. How was your trip?
Oh, buddy, it's fantastic. You ever been to the Big Island in Hawaii?
No, I haven't.
Buddy, you might have to take Penny Lane. I highly recommend it. It was unbelievable. There's like there's like 11 different climate zones on the island itself. You know, like on the top of the mountain peak, they got like snow. Then you can go over in one area. It's like honestly, when you land on the airport, it's like I'm on the moon because there's so much black lava rock in a lot of places. And I'm driving to my resort. I'm like, what is going on here? But then when we tour around the island, you get there's like an arid, it's like you're driving and it's like, I'm looking towards the ocean, but I'm like, am I in Africa right now? It's really dry right before it in certain spots. Then you go around a corner and all of a sudden you're in like a rainforest and it's unbelievable. Like it was so awesome. I highly recommend it to anyone. I loved it. Then there was lots of different activities to do. The weather, of course, is fantastic, like it always is. We lucked out. I heard there was, some flooding and stuff in Honolulu, but that's on a different island. And so the Big Island, man, I would highly recommend it to anyone. I want to ask, do you drink coffee, TR?
I do.
So do you know where a coffee bean comes from?
I know that back in the day, it got discovered in Ethiopia with the donkeys. I'm not joking. I've heard that story in like the 1200s. I believe that's where coffee was first produced, like we use it. And I think at first it was chocolate, and then they turned it into a drink.
Because coffee itself, the bean. So we went on a tour of like an old coffee plantation in just outside of Kona. And the historical site had they have a lot of the buildings that were there from when it started, like in the 1925s and 1926. And they had a lot of Japanese people who came over, and they were they would run their own farm for the plantation. And in September, October, November, for those 3 months, you basically would get up at 5 a.m. and work until like 8 p.m. And there were 7 days a week. And they actually had school off those 3 months, which it's bordering on like child labor. In 1965, they changed the law. Like which isn't that long ago when you think.
No, 65. You'd figure earlier than that.
And they changed that law. So we learned all these things. But anyway, the coffee bean itself comes in like a little red. It almost looks like a cherry. And so then it goes through the whole process. You peel off the skin, and then there's a bunch of sugar surrounding, then you squeeze all that out. And then there's the coffee bean. And then the bean itself actually has a little shell over top of it. And so he was taking us through this whole process of how, over time they had new inventions that would make it a little bit better. But you used to have to drag it out and then lay it on the grass and dry it out the next night. And so the next day, people who were drying it out, you had to pick it up and put it away. Like, dude, I was listening to him and he was going through, and I'm like, they did this every day. And I was like, this is awful. And so, there's families, people, fourth generations that are like, I'm never living here again. Like, you have like nightmares about it. But I didn't know. Now, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I did not know that coffee actually comes, like when you look at it, when it's ripe off the tree, because it grows on trees, number one, the berries, and they're little red berries. And I'm just like, what is going on? I never knew that. So
I didn't know it. I'm fascinated with the history of it. It has a big, coffee has a big role in kind of the Renaissance and the scientific revolution, because people were drinking, because of the plague, a lot of people were drinking beer because, I don't think they realized exactly why back then, but, the process of making the beer obviously made it a little bit safer to drink. So kids were going around, you can look this up, I'm not making it up, I'm fascinated by the whole story. Kids, I mean, everybody, most of the population was drunk or hammered most of the time. And then when coffee came around, at first, it became huge. It got discovered, Ethiopia, I believe 11 or 1200s, around there. And it was farmers out with their donkeys and just over time seeing them in certain areas be just jumping all over the place. Then they figured out what was, and then they had to, at first I believe they made it into chocolate for like hundreds of years. Then it became a drink. And now all of a sudden it starts passing all over, each basically port that they would trade things. All of a sudden, coffee became one of the biggest things that was being traded. And, then people basically sobered up. And the printing press happened at around the same time, all around 14 or 1500. So if you'll look, I mean, the Renaissance happened right after that, the scientific revolution, basically because the world became unhammered, as Brant Myers would say. It became unhammered, and the Enlightenment has a lot to owe to coffee. Now, I did not know it was red till this day. I know that 3 places in the United States, Hawaii is the biggest, and then parts of California and Florida, but there's not many places that you can grow it. A lot of people don't realize that either.
And there's a 25-mile stretch in Kona that's like the coffee, because of the weather and the temperature and everything in the soil. It's like, it's a utopia of where to grow coffee. And so Kona coffee, it was like, they were explaining to, like, I've never heard of Kona coffee. But like a pound of Kona coffee is some like ridiculous price. And for the longest time, the Kona farmers, they could never actually, after they did all the crop and everything, and then they would deliver they couldn't buy a bag because it was so expensive. So they'd have to keep some to themselves and do it, on their own, right? Through after the whole, it was like all these things I'm learning. I don't even drink coffee, but I just kind of found it fascinating. I like to kind of tour around and, get my son a little history and to learn some things. And the other thing I learned there, like you've had limes before. In Hawaii, they have orange limes on the tree. They grow and they're orange. And I'm telling you, dude, because I was like, get out of here. They grow orange here. So you get to pick your own orange at the end of the tour. And it was unbelievable. The oranges were great. But then he goes, oh, here, have a lime. And I'm like, well, I'm looking for the limes. And they're all like these on the tree. So I see the green one. And I pick the green one. He goes, no, you don't pick the green one. It's not ripe. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you got to get the orange one. It was an orange lime. And dude, I cut it open. I had a bite, and like, it was maybe one of the sourest limes, but then you got to keep it home, made a drink later that night, put it in. It was unbelievable. So they actually have orange limes.
How do we not know this? Like the first 5 things you've said about Hawaii, I did not know. And you'd figure, I mean, I've seen it on TV. I've watched them play their basketball team. Carl English went down there. I mean, I'm not an idiot when it comes to Hawaii. I know about the multiple islands, and I know they got a bunch of telescopes on the top of a couple of those.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're some of the best in the world.
Yes.
I did not know anything you're saying right now. And if there are orange limes, why haven't we seen them?
Well, I don't know. You know what? Because you can't bring it back, right? You can't bring fruit. So I was unable to do it, but it was, I'm telling you, like, it was sour, but for lime, it's supposed to be sour. And in my gin, it was amazing. So there you go.
And how many gins are we talking about?
Not many. I'm not a big, I'm not a huge drinker on holidays, but I like to sit back and relax. And the other thing I learned, like Mount Everest, of course, is the largest mountain above ground, tallest mountain above ground, but Mauna Kea is the largest mountain in the world because most of it is underground, and they've done all the studies on it. So there's another thing I learned.
So, okay, there's what I didn't know about that statement is, what's the definition of mountain? What do you mean if they can start underground? Doesn't all land start underground? I thought mountain meant sea level up.
Yeah. No, not according to these guys. So yeah, like there's the tallest mountain, which is the one that you see the tallest above ground. But then the actual biggest is Mauna Kea, according to the Hawaiians and all the tour. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, yeah, because it's so big, it's each year the crust below it is dropping something like 4 feet because that's how big it is.
I've heard people go on academic trips to the New York Library and come back with less knowledge than you just came back from a vacation in Hawaii with. So congrats on that.
Hey, buddy, I like it. I was relaxed. I had my phone on. I'm learning. I'm sharp as a tack. I'm sleeping in every day. It was great. So I loved it. Lots to discuss, TR. I want to get your thoughts because I haven't talked to you. The Vancouver Canucks. So they finally trade JT Miller, and they trade him on the Friday. And on the Monday, not even 72 hours after, there's a new drama in Vancouver. Now, Carson Soucy, we're going to have to trade him because they sent out the memo to the teams. He's available. And now, because once you send that memo out, you know that they leak it to an insider, somebody, GM, assistant GM somewhere. Oh, guess this guy's available. And boom, away it goes. And now it's like, oh, we want to get rid of him. And I'm like, you just wanted to get new defensemen. So they get Marcus Peterson in, and they give him a 6-year deal. A year ago, you couldn't give him away for the Pittsburgh Penguins. No one was taking him. And now suddenly he's this valuable. Like, and then you've got the Soucy, who's actually a pretty value contract. And now they're going to want to get rid of him. They don't have enough good defensemen, but now they want to get rid of him, and doesn't want to waive his no clause. And it's just like, it's a never-ending saga of drama in Vancouver.
I got to say, for a couple of teams, being the Rangers, we're starting to turn it around, but the Rangers in Vancouver this year these seem like, not disturbing, but like, I've rarely seen such levels of unprofessionalism in the sport of hockey. I can't speak for every sport. I know stuff happens, and I know in some sports all kinds of things happen. It just seems to me that a lot of this is damage control caused by the way the teams are handling it. And secondly, I would love, maybe I wouldn't, but to know, like, what in the world happened there? Like, maybe there's a fallout because, I mean, the first thing I went to, if Soucy's now wants out, then maybe there's some kind of fallout from the original tension between Peterson and Miller. And who knows, maybe he thought the wrong guy went, or maybe I'm just speculating. But it seems to be handled, if you're going to be halfway public about it, then it starts to be a real thorn in your side as a team. And both these teams I know you mentioned Vancouver, but we're not too far removed from the Rangers' total circus being as alive and well as it ever was. But these are two teams that are knocking on the door like that expected to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year, that despite everything happening, still have a chance to do it. And the train doesn't seem to be on the track. So I don't know. It's a hard one to comment on. Whatever's happening there seems a lot deeper than just on ice. And it seems a lot deeper than even just some, one-off off ice. This seems to be real deep. It almost becomes, in Vancouver's case, it's becoming the thing that defines the team the most.
I totally agree. Right? Like it just seems like it's a constant cloud of drama and distraction around the organization.
Quinn Hughes plays on that team and you could make an argument for the Hart Trophy, and some of the things he's doing when you watch him play are absolutely beautiful. They're majestic. This guy can play. I don't see a flaw. He's a workhorse. He's out there. He's doing everything, and it's being kind of overshadowed by everything else that's happening. When you say Vancouver Canucks to me, I think tire fire before I think Hughes, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Jeff Skinner finally got a look in the top. Now, I shouldn't say finally, because he did have a look earlier on in the season. Not very long, though. And, him and Draisaitl in the third period last night connect on 2 goals. They each score 1. They each have an assist on the other. And I expect tomorrow night against Colorado, he'll stay there. What do you think the chances that Skinner can be a fit long-term in the top 6?
I think they're better than many might be predicting because he's done it before. He's proven. And as any athlete, especially a hockey player knows, again, at any relative level, that's all-star. It can be tough to play when you're not playing with confidence. It can. And when a guy like that, you want him to ride the confidence. Now I think we have a better chance to really see. Now he's played well, and as of recently, and last night, I really thought he played a great game. So to me, I don't see the point of being cynical. They got him for a reason. What's the difference, the timing of it? As a player, everybody knows it's tough, man. You're bearing down, you're squeezing your stick, you're thinking too much, you're reading the paper. It's impossible to escape social media in one way or the other. You're playing in a market that, expects a lot, and there's a lot of magnifying glass on you. So for me, now let's really see it. Now you should have some confidence. You're out there, do the things. You shouldn't be scared to try the things that made you the great player that you are. So for me, I think the odds are pretty good. I do. He's done it before. It's not like he's aged out. I've got every reason to believe in the guy. I think it was a combination of things, but a lot of it was rooted from maybe an uncomfortable situation due to the lack of production, which led to a lack of confidence.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Will return. We got lots more hockey talk to get to here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play this month of February.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, 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 nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com. You've probably heard the word rehab before, but when GS Construction talks about rehab, we mean bringing aging infrastructure back to life. Water and sewer systems that keep our communities flowing. GS Construction needs skilled pros who know how to get it done safely and efficiently, and that's why we're hiring. If you're a foreman or a pipe layer, apply to a company that's building for Edmonton and area for 2025. Join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we restore. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join our crew today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. Ride Riverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs. And up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through a lovely Thursday afternoon. I have to say, man, it felt infinitely better out today than yesterday. It's still mine. I don't even know what the temperature was, 12, 13 today, but oh, what a welcome reprieve from the, and I wasn't even here for the super cold part, but yesterday sucked and hey, getting better. It's still going to be like minus 12, minus 14, minus 15 in Feb. Not ideal, but I guess it could always be worse. Snowing, tons of snow, minus 30. It's worse for sure. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Jason Gregor alongside Terry Ryan. TR, you guys get any snow there yet?
We have a little bit of snow. Today it was -7 though, which is cold for here. But it's I haven't had to use a shovel yet. This is the longest I ever remember. It's odd, man. We've had a little bit, and then it'll rain, and then we had a little bit more. But this is a really weird year. Yeah, no snow days yet. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen, but now we're midway through February. I mean, it can only be so much. So yeah, we got off lucky.
Yeah, well, that's great. Let's bring in from Rogers Sportsnet, Ken Reed joins the program. Reader, how you doing, my man?
Good. It's 2 degrees Celsius in Toronto with slight snow. My son just cleared the snow off the window as I drive to work. How are you guys doing?
Oh, nice. Hey,
my weatherman voice.
We're great. Yeah, weatherman boy. Hey, quickly, give me your thoughts on the Raptors moves.
Big move. To me, that means they want the rebuild or the collapse or whatever you want to call it to be this year only, and they're gonna be a contender this next year, especially if they can sign Ingram. Right? They got the advantage over the other teams, and now he's under contract to them. So I haven't been tuned in today. I don't know if they signed him today or what, but I think that trading for him is just kind of going, okay, this is going to be a very, very quick rebuild.
Reader, I want to get your thoughts on we're 4 nations, and I think the whole nation took a big exhale today when Sidney Crosby showed up on the ice. Because as Mike Rupp, who's an American, said, he goes, don't tell me I waited this long to have Sid, Connor, and McKinnon on the same team to only have Crosby get hurt a week before it starts. So, it's obviously a good sign that he's there. How into are you excited for the 4 nations, or is it okay? Once I see a game, I'll get excited.
I'm excited for it. I love best on best hockey. Some of my best childhood memories, and guys, we're all of the same vintage. Some of my best childhood memories are the Canada Cups, best on best hockey. I think some people think this is just going to be a glorified all-star game. It's not. This is going to be hardcore. This is going to be serious. When the guys put on their jersey sweaters for Canada, it's going to be serious. I was at the Hall of Fame yesterday, and I talked to one of the guys who worked in the gift shop. He said, so many people are coming in thinking this is just going to be glorified all-stars. Serious? So it won't be. It's going to be like the fact that we have to wait this long for McDavid to play with McKinnon and Crosby is incredible. So if, like, as a fan, seriously, soak it up. This is what we should be living for. We took it for granted back in the day, right? We had the Canada Cup every 3, 4, 5 years. And look, Gary Bettman's done great business for the NHL. He's been horrible for international best on best hockey. So this is great. I'm very glad that the NHL and the PA made this happen. I'm excited for it for sure.
Go ahead, TR.
Well, I was going to say, Reader, why only 4 teams? Like that really, for me, I really hope you're right. I hope you are, but I think there's a chance that it's not going to be as intense as you think. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't understand 4 teams. You could add at least Slovakia, Czech Republic, or whatever it is, Czechia. Now, I get the Russia thing. It's political. It's out of our hands.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Latvia beat Canada in the World Junior. So I'm not saying have Latvia, but you couldn't just have a couple of more. That's what takes it away for me. Like, to me, I want to see it, but I'm wishing for a moment like Gretzky Lemieux, but it won't mean as much because the best players aren't even there.
Okay, I think you hit on it, Gary, and I think they went with the 4 teams. I think when they were deciding to put this together, they thought the Russia-Ukraine thing might still be a thing. It is still a thing. I think they played it safe, and they just said, look, we're going to just exclude Russia, and if we take one out, we got to take a few out. I mean, when's the last time you get into international diplomacy problems with Sweden and Finland? That doesn't happen. So I think they just played it safe, to be honest. That's like, and it is. Yeah, I mean, a guy who's going to break Wayne Gretzky's record isn't there. That sucks. But to me, let's be honest. Everyone's banking on a USA-Canada final. Now, it could very well not happen. But to me, our biggest hockey rivalry now is USA. So you could have just had a Canada-USA series. I would have been pumped for it, to be honest.
That is a great point. And to move off it for a second, because I got to know. I know you're a Jays fan. So am I. Rate 1 to 10 their off season. What do you think? I mean, I'm iffy on it.
3.
I feel a lot better as of recently. I tell you that.
Yeah, 3. It's just the Santander signing was excellent. Scherzer's optics. Remember, guys, Frank Thomas played his last season in Toronto as well, right?
Yeah.
Max Scherzer's 40 years old. His fastball isn't 98; it's 92. He's picking the corners, which is fine. He's smart. He's a pro, but he pitched 45 innings last year. To me, the Scherzer signing was a chance to appease the average fan who thinks Max Scherzer's still Max Scherzer. But if you look into it, he's not quite Max Scherzer anymore. I think, listen, Blue Jays ownership's stepped up. They gave the guys enough money to spend. But to me, the Blue Jays, their budget's kind of like the Canadian government. They spend tons of money. They just spend it wrong. I don't like the way they spend it. Shapiro and Atkins, they've proved how unqualified they are to do this. Somebody was going to give Santander the money, and the somebody who was going to give Santander the money was whoever was left with a lot of money after not getting, the big boys. That's all it was. I mean, if you went to Shapiro and Atkins at the start of the offseason and said, "Oh, you're going to make a run at Scherzer, are you?" They would have said, "What are you talking about?" Because there's no way that the nerds who run their analytics department would have liked that. But to me, that's optics. That's window dressing. That's what that signing is. Not saying Max Scherzer still can't be effective. He can be, but you're not signing a guy who's 30 years old. You're signing a guy who's 40 years old. So I'm giving them a 3, and that's a very generous 3.
Ken Reed joins us. Reader, we are officially 29 days away from the trade deadline. We've had a lot of big moves, and which leads, I don't know if it's more tinkering. There's not a lot of big names necessarily. What do you think the Leafs need to do? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they need another center for sure. Another defenseman never hurts because, as you guys in Edmonton know, if you're going to make a run to the final, you need more than 6. A defenseman back there would help, but I think another center for sure. Goaltending, they're fine. I like the way Toronto's built. To me, I predicted it at the start of the year, Toronto-Edmonton final, which would be the dream for Canada. But I think another center, and I think maybe 2 more D. I don't know who those players are. I'm glad it's not the NBA where it's superstar traded for superstar and you can't track who's on everybody's team anymore. But a big splashy trade would be nice. But I think we're already kind of supplied with a couple big splashy trades already this year. But I think if you're the Leafs, you just need a good third line center, somebody to provide you more depth down the middle, and a couple more veteran D. As you guys know, you win down the middle now, and I think they're in good shape. They're not as flashy as they were. They're not as entertaining as they were. I was having this chat today with Tom Bussy Martin, who's an all-time beauty. Old listeners would recall he was traded for a bus. Seattle, Victoria Royals got him from Seattle. They traded for a bus and a bunch of players for Bussy. He's a beauty. He's a friggin' beauty. And we were talking about, when Scotty Bowman had how he turned Steve Yzerman from 60, 70 goal guy into Mr. Responsibility. And when I look at Berube, I think I'm not saying he's Scotty Bowman, but he's having that mature effect on his team. You know, Austin Matthews may not score 60, but maybe he'll be a better player come playoff. And he's always been a very solid defensive player. So, I just think they need to keep what they're doing. They don't need any major tweaks. A little help on the back end never hurts.
Ken Reed joins us from Sportsnet. You look at the Mitch Marner situation, and he's having a great year. He's on pace now. He scored 99 and 97 points before, so if he's on pace, I think it's for 107 or whatever. So it's within his range. He's been pretty good. Does it even matter, or is all of Mitch Marner's re-signing going to be based on what happens in the postseason?
It matters to me if I write a book on 100-point guys in 50 years from now. I got 100 points to the Leafs, and Mitch Marner will be on that list, but it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it's the only thing that matters in this city is playoffs and playoff production. That's it. There's nothing else. Yeah, it's Metallica. Nothing else matters, right? Like, no one here in Toronto, I don't think, cares if they finish first in the East or eighth, as long as they get in, and then they'll judge them by the playoffs.
When you look at what Montreal, they had their little run. I think they've come back down to reality. They were never going to continue that 7-2-1 run. It was a great little, fans get excited, but you know what? Patrick Laine wasn't going to score a power play goal every game. It just wasn't going to happen. He's not doing much 5-on-5. But what about the Senators? What do you make of the Sens?
Well, how long, boys, have we been saying this is the year? This is the year. This is the year. Well, I guess it is, right? I would say this is the year. I mean, last I looked at the standings, it might have switched overnight, but you could have the Leafs against the Senators in the first round, right? And people say, no, it's the Battle of Ontario again. I'll go, first off, there's no Battle of Ontario anymore, just like the Battle of Alberta doesn't exist anymore, okay? We lived through the Battle of Alberta. We know what that was. When the Flames play the Oilers now, it's not the Battle of Ontario. When the Senators play the Leafs, it's not the Battle of Ontario. But that would be a fantastic playoff series. I would, if I was a betting man now, Sens in the playoffs, yes. Montreal, like you said, they had their run. They kind of teased their fans, right? But, if you get a power play goal from Laine every game, bonus. But dude doesn't do much 5-on-5 at all. And last I checked, Kirby Dach was the current Masters champ, right? Like minus 17 or something. So that's not good either.
No, why? I think it's worse than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Minus 26, maybe even.
Yeah,
it's up there.
Yeah, well, he's tied with Tyler Bertuzzi and Kurashev. They're all at minus 27. So
there you go, minus 27. Do you know what a startling stat I think from the Leafs is? Riley's around minus 17. Tanev's around plus 17. And to me, that tells you everything you need to know about Chris Tanev. And when I say the Leafs need a defenseman, they need Tanev type guys. Defense man, doesn't make the highlight reel. If you watch him, he does everything right. That's what they need. But, I'd believe in Ottawa. Would you guys find the Sens?
Well, the fact that they kept their head above water without Allmark, to me, is the best sign for them, right? And they had a stretch where they couldn't score to save their life, and now their offense is up. And they kind of got some lucky timing in the sense Norris got hurt, Pinto got hurt, and they've only got a few games left. But then they get, extra weeks off for those guys to heal without missing any games. So I think that's a big boost to them. And I still, what about Detroit? All of a sudden, Todd McClellan and the Red Wings, they've got the best record in the NHL. Only like Edmonton's second best, but Detroit's the best record in the NHL in the calendar year of 2025.
Right, but you could have went back and said the best team since December 23rd, up to 2 weeks ago, was Montreal. But yeah, they're hot, so believe in it. But I had to add my one other favorite Sens note, TR, which you'll like. Drake Batherson, son of the great Norm Batherson, Acadia University hockey stud. Drake Batherson's great uncle, boys, and Gregor, if you have any Maritimers out there, they're going to love this. His great uncle is Matt Minglewood, who's like a Cape Breton rocker, East Coast Blues. So I guarantee you, somebody, Gregor, is listening. Please message in who got in a fight at a Matt Minglewood beer garden. Guarantee. That was fighting, County. Matty's the best.
Oh, Matt Minglewood. I knew right away who you were talking about. Yeah. I didn't realize they were related. Did you say related?
Matt is Drake's great uncle.
Great uncle. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wild.
Well, because Matt's a Batherson. Matt's real last name is Batherson. So there you go. Trickles down.
Oh, okay. Well, Norm Batherson, actually, him and my brother played on those Acadia teams together, and now their sons are playing together in Ottawa. Kind of weird.
What? I didn't know your brother played at Acadia. Wow.
Oh, yeah. They were there for a few years, and he was on that team. He was one of their best guys of the year. They dominated.
He's on that wagon team, wasn't he? 93?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The year before they had their top 3 forwards got suspended in the final against New Brunswick. So they didn't go to nationals back then. So that's when.
Oh, wow.
Like there was still like they had McFarland on their team who was black, and
Mark from Amherst.
Yes, tough as nails, and the amount of racism that he had to endure on the East Coast, it was mind blowing. I remember my brother telling me, and this was like in '92, and I'm like, what? And it was crazy. Like you go to New NB, and it was just like nuts. They almost needed a police escort out of there sometimes.
Yep, Mark McFarland was tough. Shout out to Acadia coach Darren Burns, who fully admits bit player on that team, but they were stacked.
No, they had a really good team. Yeah.
Darren Burns is married to a good Newfoundland girl, soccer player, Lana North. There you go. It all comes full circle.
Oh, nice.
TR and I can go on talking about who's related to who and who knows who. Oh,
true, yeah. She's right from Mount Pearl, just up the road. As soon as you said it, yeah.
Reader, what's that? Is that ambulance to get Mitch Marner healthy? What's going on?
No, that's just that's your requisite fire truck on the way to work every night.
Oh, every night. There's always one blowing by you.
My son and I, whenever I drive him to hockey or baseball, I go, there it is, buddy. One emergency vehicle per trip, guaranteed.
Oh, all right.
Guaranteed. Yeah, lovely city.
I love it. Reader, always good to catch up with you, man. Enjoy the games. What's coming up on tap tonight? Anything special? Should we be tuning in for?
It's just pure charm of me and Ivanka. But boys, I got to leave you on this one note. TR, I know you're going to like this for your dad. You brought me on to Rush. Did you guys know that Geddy Lee and Steve Shutt were tight as kids? One day, they both ordered bass guitars out of a rock and roll magazine. The guitars showed up on a Friday. Steve plucked his all weekend. Geddy showed up on Monday. The master, Steve Shutt, to play about one note. That was that was it for his rock guitar career, and Geddy Lee went on to be Geddy Lee. So there you go.
Really?
In the sports world. Yep. Yeah.
Nice. That's why I love you, Reader. And your next book, One Note Wonders. There you go. Steve, yeah.
Well, I'll have to interview Wheels from Degrassi on that bass line from Zit Remedy. And the bass player from
for sure.
Bass player from Poison for Unskinny Bob. One Note Wonders. There you go.
Oh, that's a classic. That would be great. Oh, love it.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Reader. Have a good one, my man.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Hey, anytime you can throw in the Zit Remedy just naturally like that, it's legendary stuff. If you know, you know on Zit Remedy. Connor, do you know Zit Remedy?
No, from Context Degrassi?
A little bit before your time.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, no.
Yeah, well, it's a missed opportunity, buddy. A missed opportunity. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sunday, February 9th. The biggest game of the year. It's on 30 TVs.
Only at On the Rocks. Join host Ryan Jesperson at OTR's Rock and Bowl Super Party.
Tickets only $30 and include
guaranteed seating,
a team t-shirt,
prepaid moosehead,
and an all-you-can-eat tailgate buffet.
Plus prizes each quarter.
And one person will take home $1,000 at the end of the game.
The Rock and Bowl Super Party, February 9th.
Tickets at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com. Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Miss golf during the off-season? No. Of course you do. So head to the Leduc Golf Club and try their state-of-the-art golf simulators. Perfect your swing, enjoy delicious food and beverages, and even book a lesson with one of the Leduc Golf Club pros. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting, the Leduc Golf Club simulators offer a great way to keep your game sharp any time of the year. Call or visit the Leduc Golf Club today to book your spot and swing into action all year round.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you on a Thursday afternoon. Oilers will wrap up their, well, it's not first half of the season, but they'll wrap up their pre-Four Nations face-off schedule tomorrow night against the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs are in Calgary tonight. If you want to do a little pre-scouting, then they'll take on the Oilers tomorrow. Then the Oilers will be off, at least those who aren't playing in the Four Nations. Noah Philp was sent down to Bakersfield today. He'll play tomorrow night and Saturday in Bakersfield and could play up to 6 games, even actually maybe 7 before the Oilers resume their schedule, which so their game tomorrow, and then they don't play again until the Saturday, the 22nd against the Philadelphia Flyers, which is start of a 5-game road trip. Like when they come out of this break, it's no joke. You got Philly, you got Florida, you got Tampa Bay, Washington, and Carolina on a tough 5-game road trip. 4 of those teams are currently playoff teams in the East. So Edmonton, I think we can all agree they've been a little sloppy here as of late. And I think, it probably, maybe a little bit banged up. Like tomorrow will be their 6th game in 9 days. Probably a little bit of fatigue factor, maybe catching up with them. We'll see. So they'll try to grind it out and then get on a break. And I will say this, probably the biggest benefactor is the league's leading scorer. Well, a lot of the top guys are going to be playing in the Four Nations. Draisaitl is going to be relaxing. Like I think he's going to come out of there and be probably just as good, if not better than he is right now. So that could be the one boost for the Edmonton Oilers. Most of the other teams, all their best players are going, but not Draisaitl. Now there's a few others, obviously Kopitar in LA and, Ovechkin and Kucherov and obviously the Russians and stuff. There's some other ones, but Tampa Bay and Edmonton, I think with Kucherov and Draisaitl will probably benefit the most. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where right now, stop in at The Brick. You can get 25% off sofas and love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals as they have the Brick's Friends and Family Sale right now for another week. The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Leon Draisaitl's stellar season continues, leading the league in points goals scored so far. I'm sure we'd all have him at the top or in the conversation, at least for the MVP power rankings. Who else is in the conversation, in your opinion? Can be as big or as small of a group as you want.
For me, I think the obvious, what comes to mind is McKinnon, Hellebuck, Hughes, Kucherov. They come to mind immediately, but one name that I really have been focusing on and that I really think is not getting talked about, not getting the love that he deserves, is Zach Werenski. Just where Columbus I think are overachieving. I know they're not ripping it up, but what did we all consider at the beginning of the year amongst tragedy and a team that really wasn't predicted to do much to begin with? And he's leading a team in scoring. He's a workhorse out there, and I think he's really come into his own as a player. And it might seem outlandish to some, but I think he's a candidate for MVP.
He's had an unreal year. Like, he's definitely a front runner for the Norris for me right now. He has had a really good year. He would be down on my list, but I could see it. Could he get a fifth place vote potentially? Sure. I think the other guy who's actually going to get some votes would be Mitch Marner in Toronto. I think he's had a really good year for them. And a guy who's he's been the top scorer here lately. If they get into the playoffs, David Pasternak might get himself some votes later on. But I'm with you. It's Draisaitl, McKinnon, and Kucherov would be my top.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What do you guys think the future holds for Jeff Skinner and his time with the Edmonton Oilers?
It's a good question. Well, hey, Skinner's play here the last few weeks, I think, has improved. Right? He's better in his defensive decisions. I think he's been better at creating some turnovers. Last night scored a nice goal, so that'll gain him some confidence. You know what? I think it's unfortunate. He's probably the one guy who's like, man, I finally get on the top line, or top 6, I should say, with Draisaitl, and he'll play there tomorrow. But that'll be 2 games, and he's going to break. And you know what? Maybe now, if he scores again, he'll go into the break feeling great about himself. So that's always good. But I think he's on a little bit of an audition here. Other guys have had a chance to audition, and we'll see. Does he get as long as a look? Like, Arvidsson's got 7 goals, and he's played basically the whole year in the top 6. Right? Skinner's got 10, and he's barely played there. So you can make a strong argument that he deserves a little bit longer of a look. And I think his look and his play will likely determine if Nugent Hopkins stays at center with Henrique in the bottom 6.
Yeah, like I said before, I got no reason to be cynical. If I look at a guy who's out there working hard, that's got a history of, putting it mildly, offensive talent, that, like I said, he's not too old. I got no reason to be cynical. What do I think the future holds? I think it's up to him. I think it's hard to judge a guy, like you said, I feel like this is his biggest audition, quote unquote, of the year. I don't want to judge anybody during that time, so I'll say hopefully good things. I'm an optimist about this particular question because I think things piled up early in the season that, yeah, he wasn't playing well, but he also didn't get bounces, and he wasn't playing. If you want to compare him to Arvidsson, who's got 7, he's still producing more. So, yeah, I say good things.
Question number 3, post-trade deadline in the NBA. Is there any teams you're liking to go on in a nice little playoff run here?
I took Celtics, Oklahoma City. I know the Lakers just made a huge move. Maybe I'm being biased because I don't love the Lakers, but I had Celtics all year, and I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I love watching them. Oklahoma City seemed to have the great team to go along with them, so I'm going to go with those 2. It's the NBA; you can go lots of different ways, but I'm going Celtics on one side, Oak City on the other.
Yeah, okay. See, it's hard not to love them, man. Like, they get Chet Holmgren back, and I know that he was on the roster before. He's missed the last 32 games, and he is elite. Really not elite yet, but he's a really good young player. So I like that addition by health for them, but it's hard not to like the Lakers. You get Luka Doncic. Kidding me? So now he's not healthy yet. When's he going to play? I don't know. And then the wild card for me will be Jimmy Butler in Golden State because, Butler, near the end of his tenure, there's always seems to be chaos and he's throwing grenades. But, man, when he came to Miami, he added a lot right away. And so you get into Golden State, and I think it's going to be a lot harder in Golden State. Like Steve Kerr, they have a really good culture there. You've got Steph Curry. There's no way that Butler can't respect Curry. It's impossible to me. So I'm kind of curious to see how he fits. He could be a good piece there because Steph Curry, as we saw in the Olympics last year, in big games, he can still come up huge for your team.
Question number 4 of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's modern era finalists. Who do you think are the locks to get inducted into the Hall in the announcement tonight?
Oh, who are the locks? I'm going to say, I think Jared Allen's a lock. I think Antonio Gates is a lock. And probably because he won 2 Super Bowls, Eli Manning.
Adam Vinatieri's up for it, right?
Yep.
So
that's a good one too.
My football fandom to even a respectable level only goes back a few years. But I know who he is, and I know he's one of the best kickers ever. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, no, he's
a lot of those guys don't, right? I mean, it's often a decade goes by and a kicker doesn't get in, as far as I know. So I'm hoping, and I know that he was lights out. It doesn't take a huge football fan to know that, so I'll go with Vinatieri. I don't think I'm qualified to expand beyond that because I don't know.
No, like I honestly, you can make lots of argument, guys, for Eli Manning's career stats. Meh. Yes, they won 2 Super Bowls, sure, but his overall career stats in all of his games are kind of average. But I think the fact that he has the Manning show, that's going to influence some people. He's a funny guy and everything. Because they're I agree with you on Vinatieri for sure. I think Jared Allen. Cons, you're a big guy. I know Antonio Gates for you is a no-brainer, but who else? Torrey Holt?
He had the shortest career, but of the 3 receivers up in this conversation this year, I believe his stats are the lowest, but he was very efficient. Torrey Big Game Holt, Steve Smith played the longest, had the best numbers. So I guess it depends how you look at it in terms of efficiency. Torrey Holt did win the Super Bowl as well, which is going to help him in that one. Reggie Wayne got his. Antonio Gates is a lock for me. Should have been last year, but I think they punished him for his failed drug test in the career. I think Luke Kuechly's going to get in. His time wasn't as long as we would have liked it to be, but he was an absolute animal out there. Jared Allen was a dog for 6 or 7 years, and Vinatieri. So those will be my 4. Eli Manning's a tough one for me. He's got the rings. He's got the MVPs. No All-Pro. No second-team All-Pro. Was he ever a top 5 quarterback in football?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I don't think so.
I agree.
So is it the league of, is the Hall of Fame of the greatest, or is it very good? If it's very good, Eli's in. But yeah, I think, Gregor, I think you have a point, though. I think just all he's done is probably going to benefit him. Final question for you two today. It's Optimist Day. So is there anything out there that you would say you're probably a little too optimistic about?
Now, I love this question because you're asking me to be pessimistic about my optimism, which in itself intrigues me. But I started to think about it, and honestly, I'm not trying to just play the happy side of the fence, but I try to see the good in everything. I really do. The good in everyone. There you go. Nice Nova Scotia band, Sloan. But I guess if you want to nitpick, I'd probably be too optimistic about the Nashville Predators this year. There you go. I didn't see this happening. It's always a possibility, but I didn't think they'd be this bad. Now, as far as everyday happenings, I don't know. I try not to be cynical.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely more of a glass, half full, 3/4 full type of person. What would I be too optimistic about? Probably my ability to have my legs become bigger. I'm always hoping for it. It's unreal. It doesn't seem realistic at this stage.
It's a great answer. I didn't expect.
Doing a lot of squats and split jumps and whatever. And it just, what? I think it's coming, but it's not coming as quick as I would like. And it's I'm kind of what am I doing here? But it's always one of those things. So I think I'm a little too optimistic about it. I look, I'm like, oh, I think it's growing, but maybe it isn't. And some listeners would say I'm too optimistic about Skinner, but they would be wrong. Cons, what about you?
Well, yeah, my football team for sure. But the weather, I think I'm always too optimistic about it. Like whether it's too hot or too cold, I'm like, oh, it's not so bad. I'll be fine. And then I usually get out there and either hate the heat or hate the extreme cold. So yeah, I'm always not giving the weather its proper respect for sure.
Yeah, I like it. TR, have yourself a great weekend. Who are you picking in the Super Bowl? And also, before I let you go, I just want this little nugget on One Note Wonders. Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys was the guitarist for Sandbox. They had a song.
Carrie is my favorite song by Sandbox.
Yes, Curious in the 90s from Jerry. So he would be a good guy for Reader's Book.
Check that out. We used to go as teenagers up to Halifax once in a while. It's got a great we have a great downtown scene here with George Street, but they've got so many universities that it's vibing with younger, teens, 20s, early 30s, whatever that scene. So we would go up there a lot, man. I saw Bubbles play and Sandbox 10 times before I even heard of the Trailer Park Boys. My favorite is Carrie. And talk about optimistic. You know what I'm optimistic about? I just got my plane ticket today. Ooh. My buddy Jordan Esket got the tickets for Canada, USA in Montreal. Oh yeah. I can't wait, man.
Oh, well, that'll be good. We look forward to chatting about that game. I love it. TR, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton. I'll see you guys in just a few days.
There you go. That's Terry Ryan joins us Tuesday and Thursdays here on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice, where every day in February, depending on what your name is, you can get a free smoothie. Go follow them at Booster Juice and find out if you are the lucky name of the day. It's very simple. Just go to Booster Juice. Today's names, by the way, and there's lots of time still left in the name. Alex, Carmen. Alex and Carmen. Get down to Booster Juice for your free smoothie today.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
After getting healthy and with the Formation Faceoff coming up, the Edmonton Oilers sending Noah Philp down into Bakersfield today. The 26-year-old appeared in 12 games for the Oilers so far this season, recording 2 points, averaging just under 9 minutes per game on the ice tonight. You got the Sens, Lightning, Devils, Golden Knights, Caps, Flyers, and Blue Jackets Hockey Club getting going shortly later on. Hurricanes take on the Wild, Blues host the Panthers, Avs in Calgary, Kraken take on the Maple Leafs, and the Canucks in San Jose. NBA trade deadline come and gone. Miami Heat acquiring guard Davion Mitchell from the Toronto Raptors in exchange for PJ Tucker, a second-round pick in cash. The Raptors expected to buy out Tucker. The team also acquiring James Wiseman in cash from the Pacers. Wiseman, a former number 2 overall pick, expected to miss the rest of the season with an Achilles injury. CFL free agency per Farhanology. The Elks have signed punter Cody Grace and receiver Tyson Middlemose, both players playing last season in Calgary. The former interpreter for baseball star Shohei Ohtani was sentenced today for 4 years and 9 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release for bank and tax fraud after he stole nearly $17 million from the Dodgers Stars bank account. Eugenio Zahira was ordered to pay $18 million in restitution, with nearly $17 million going to Ohtani and the rest to the IRS. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and talk more Oilers. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It may sound cliche, but it's true. Building something new starts with a solid foundation. At GS Construction, we're growing Edmonton subdivisions with deep utility services and infrastructure that lasts. Every new project begins with skilled people like you, building communities from the ground up. GS Construction is hiring. So if you're a foreman or a pipe layer that's looking to put your skills to work for Edmonton and area in 2025, we'd love to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join a team that digs deep and builds stronger.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Elevate your game with the Basketball Show, hosted by me, Paul Sir. Tune in Saturday mornings at 10 for expert insights, exclusive interviews, and the latest hoops action. It happens right here on Sports 1440.
A Tim's Donut and Coffee is the original collab. And now, any classic donut is $1 when you buy any size original or dark roast coffee. Get a deal on the iconic duo with a Tim's $1 donut, plus tax at participating restaurants for limited time. Terms apply. See app for details.
Time for Tim's. From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even exist.
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy at work, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full, natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today. Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Introducing the Female Super League.
Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely Thursday. The Daily Grand at PlayAlberta.ca. Get your tickets and you can win $1,000 a day, $7.2 million over the next 20 years. Or you can take the one lump sum payment if you like, or you just get that e-transfer every day, $1,000. That's what I assume anyway. I don't think you're going to go pick it up every day. Nice. Just wake up. I'd set the time. I want it to come in every day at this time. Done. I'd probably choose noon. Oh, midway point of the day. All right. How was the morning? Nah, not great. Oh, just got $1,000. Pretty good now. Check it out at playalberta.ca. Pretty hectic schedule tonight in the National Hockey League. Orders aren't playing. They will wrap up their pre-Four Nations schedule tomorrow against the Colorado Avalanche, who are in Calgary tonight, one of 9 games. And then actually on Saturday, there's 14 games, but the Orders are one of the few teams not playing that night. They will play tomorrow, and then done, of course, the NHL regular season will wrap up before the break on Sunday, and then they don't resume games until the 22nd, I think it is. I don't think there's, the 22nd. And the Orders, of course, will be in Philadelphia that day, getting set to take on the Flyers, first of a 5-game road trip. So tomorrow wraps up 6 games in 9 days for the Orders. Kind of a hectic part of their season, and we'll see how they do. They little sloppy last night, I think, to put it mildly, but that's you can afford to be sloppy against the 31st place Chicago Blackhawks, and they found a way to get a win. And at this point of the season, hey, you take the wins regardless of how pretty or ugly they are. So they'll see tomorrow. You probably got to have a little bit better of an effort, but it's not like the Avalanche are coming to town red hot. They can't score as of late, and they're giving up a lot more goals. So we'll see. Maybe the Orders can end it on an even better string tomorrow against the Avs. As we get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction. You still see them, though. They're working on the Yellowhead. You're out. Hey, what are they doing out there? Well, before the overpasses and road widening can happen, they get the relocation of all the underground utilities out of the way. That's what they do. They're the underground infrastructure specialists, GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us once again. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Pretty good, Jay. Now, didn't Edmonton go into Colorado twice this year on the back end, the second day of back-to-backs? I think they did.
Yes, they did. Yes.
And now Colorado comes here on the second day of a back-to-back because they're in Calgary tonight.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty weird scheduling, I would say. Did Edmonton win both those games in Denver? They won one of them.
They won one, and did they lose the other one in overtime? I got to look it up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I know they were close, and it's It is kind of, I guess you can say, well, it evens out if the Orders are doing back-to-backs, and now Colorado's got to do a back-to-back. So I guess, they're going to say that evens it out. Yeah, they won the 4-3 after beating Minnesota, which is a tough back-to-back that night. And then as I quickly scroll down, they actually won both. They beat Utah and Colorado. So they've, Edmonton loved the back-to-back in Colorado, and we'll see if they can enjoy and take advantage of Colorado on a back-to-back.
Yeah, that's a tough one too. Colorado's obviously a good team. The altitude is real. right? That altitude
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
it's not phony. So winning back-to-backs in there is tough, and so there you go. That kind of is a bit of a metaphor for an Oilers team that's scraping up points pretty much every week here in the league. I mean, they're not having many bad weeks, and I've got Vegas and Jersey on my television in front of me right now, and Vegas had killed for the kind of week the Oilers have been having lately. They're struggling, and the Oilers are not only caught them but passed them by 4 points here.
Yeah. Not the prettiest of game, but in the third period, Spec, a glimmer of hope for Oiler fans who were thinking maybe Skinner and Draisaitl can build some continuity because they connect on 2 goals that they each score. They each assist on each other's goal. And, Jeff Skinner, he had a great chance early in that game. Skinner's games lately has been pretty good. Like, he's probably the one guy who's like, man, I don't want this Four Nations break to come. I'm just starting to get rolling.
I have a whole sort of new respect for him this year. I think he's, I wrote today a piece on him just off the game last night, watching on TV. So it's no work of art, but this is a guy that he's never played on a contender, Jay.
No.
Right? He's never played on a winner. So he doesn't know how to play like a contender or play like a winner. He's never been on a team that has to dig in the way you're expected to dig in around here. And, we've learned, you can't play with McDavid or Draisaitl if your defensive game is derelict. They leave you behind and they don't want you anymore. Come back when you can play a 200-foot game. Come back when you're at the same level we're at. They don't suffer fools real well, particularly Draisaitl. So, his game, they didn't want him. And now he went down, he worked hard. We've watched all these great defensive plays he's made. He's on the right side of the puck. The assist he makes to Draisaitl last night is a play where he's on the right side of the puck and it happens to come to him. He makes the pass, but he gets it because he's in position. Now I think Draisaitl's going, okay, I don't mind this guy. He's got tons of skill and he plays the game the right way now. So good for Jeff Skinner, man. I think he's a great story.
Yeah. And, I assume he'll play there tomorrow. I don't think there's any reason to not, have him on that line whatsoever. And, him and Arvidsson, I think that's the first game this year that they both scored in the same game. And, like when you look at the off season, I think the Oilers were hoping that would happen maybe a little bit more frequently.
You think?
For sure, for them. And they kind of like, I think I could make an argument that Arvidsson's been a bigger disappointment thus far than Skinner, right? And not that they've been terrible by any stretch, but Arvidsson's played in the top 6 basically the whole year, and he only has 7 goals.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree with you that he's been a bigger disappointment because he hasn't been a healthy scratch and playing on the 4th line. But his production's been nowhere near what you hoped it would be, for sure. There's no doubt. I mean, how is Leon Draisaitl having a career season with the wingers he's been playing with all year, right? How's that happen? Because, he's not getting a bunch of assists on Arvidsson's goals. Podkolzin barely scores. Skinner hasn't been there for 5 minutes. He played with him a little bit and he went down. So it does, imagine if Draisaitl had a guy that could score 30 goals on his wing. How many points would he have then?
That's a fair point, right? Well, I think that illustrates just how good of a season Draisaitl's having, because it's not just the points. He's averaging 1.5 points a game.
Yeah.
He's plus 27 on the season, right? I know some people, I don't like plus minus. I'm like, well, then fine. But, but you'll rave about goal for percentage. It's the same thing. The only difference is it eliminates some empty net goals. So it takes 2 seconds to go look at what they are 5-on-5 across the league. And you know what? Only Marchenko and Protas have a higher plus minus than Draisaitl. And Draisaitl plays more minutes and plays against tougher competition all the time. And, he's having an unreal season, I think, for the Oilers spec. And, with McKinnon now, the no Rantanen, we'll see. Colorado, I know it's only 6 games. They're 3-3 without him, but they've only scored 15 goals in those 6 games. And 10 of them came in 2 of the games. So, I'm kind of curious what we'll see from Colorado tonight. I'll watch that game on TV and then tomorrow against Edmonton.
Yeah, it's a giant adjustment. It's like because in Edmonton you got 2 centermen. So Leon and McDavid play together some days, played not together some days. McDavid forges a really good relationship with Zach Hyman. Leon's always looking for wingers. He seems to be able to work with whoever you give him. But in Colorado, it's been McKinnon, their best center, and Rantanen, their best winger. And now that Landeskog's been out of the picture for a couple of years here, those two guys have, they're pretty joined at the hip, right? I know they were playing Rantanen as a center, which wasn't working that great. Those two guys are important to each other, and taking away Rantanen from McKinnon, as great a player as McKinnon is, we all know he's, top 2-3 guy in the league here in the world. Taking Rantanen away is a big deal, man. It's going to take a while to figure it out. Who's playing with them? Who's burying those passes? Who's providing the way Rantanen provided? It's going to take a while. That's going to leave a dent, boy. When I look at that Colorado group of forwards with Rantanen not in it anymore, there's a lot of hem and haw in there. There's a lot of guys that I think, they're good players, but they're not great players, right? They're just an okay group led by the great Nathan McKinnon, of course.
Yeah, like he's not, Marty Necas is not Mikko Rantanen, right? Good for Marty Necas. He's like, this is unreal, right? He's got, 5 points in 6 games, which is okay, but still, not what Rantanen was putting up. But even Rantanen on the other side, he's playing 3 fewer minutes per game in Carolina. Now he's playing just under 20, but he's playing, just under 23 in Colorado. So that's a little bit of a dip. And I don't care who his center is. The center's not going to be as good as Nathan McKinnon. It's just how it is.
Well, Aho's not as good as McKinnon, and he's a totally different player, right?
Yeah.
And I believe he shoots the other way, does he not? I believe Aho's a lefty.
Oh, well, yeah, that matters.
It matters a ton.
No.
It matters a ton. So, to go, listen, I don't care where you're going. If you're moving me from McKinnon to someone else, it's going to be a downgrade. You don't even have to tell, unless you're bringing me to Edmonton to play with McDavid, it's a downgrade. So, there's only one way to go for Rantanen leaving Denver, and that's south, even to a guy like Aho, who's obviously a hugely awesome, good player. He's not as good as McKinnon. So there's a couple of teams there that have some time to figure it out, but we'll see how that trade works. I can't see how this is a good trade for Colorado, man. I just cannot see it. And I would hope that owner in Carolina, Tom Dundon, gets rid of those alligator arms and reaches down and signs Rantanen here. You don't get many guys like Rantanen a chance to sign him. Keep this guy on your team, I would say to him.
Well, if they don't sign him, then it's it's a disaster, right? I guess unless they win the cup. But if you don't win the cup and then you don't sign him, it's a disaster. I think they had to know going in. Like last year they traded for Jake Gensel and they didn't re-sign him, but they didn't give up guys like Marty Necas and Drury, right? Like they gave up not even any of their top 3 prospects in that deal, really, to get Gensel. So that's what allowed them that made that, I think, doable somewhat for them. But when I look at this trade, like Carolina, winning's one thing. But they got to re-sign him for sure. Otherwise, you give up a ton not to get him. So that's not ideal. Looking at the orders, Noah Philp goes down. Spec, they got Nugent Hopkins, Henrique, Draisaitl, and McDavid. Do you think that ultimately might be their 4 centers here down the stretch for the orders? And do they maybe focus more on getting a winger with a little bit of speed and some skill and, in an ideal world, someone with some tenacity?
Yeah, they need some size in their bottom 6, I think. I don't know, Jay. I don't know. I don't think there's a world in which Nugent Hopkins doesn't play left wing for McDavid sometimes.
Okay.
Right. So now I'm missing a center. I need another centerman.
All right.
I would say to you that if Henrique's on my 4th line center, I must have a hell of a good team, but I'm not sure. I mean, they need a right shot in there somewhere, right? They need a right shot center somewhere. And I think that there's going to be a lot of days when Henrique's my 3rd line center. And I guess the question becomes, do we platoon Derek Ryan and Noah Philp at 4th line center or in the playoffs, or what are you doing? Or do you go out and find some version of Nick Bjugstad, who's a genuine number 4 center? That's what he is. That's what I'm acquiring here for a 3rd round, 4th round pick. Do you go ahead and do that and make, push Philp and Ryan right out of your starting lineup? I'm not sure. What do you do?
Well, Noah Philp hasn't played enough minutes for me to know, if he can be a contributing factor yet, but he's also a rookie, right? And, you're a team going for a Stanley Cup final. So I can understand why, they're like, hey, we got Henrique and we got Nugent Hopkins here, and we'll play those guys. And it's easier to keep them in the mix because they're on the penalty kill. So I understand all that.
Yep.
I would probably want some depth just in case, because I don't think Derek Ryan's an answer come playoff time for me. So I would want some depth. Just, another veteran guy, right? Like, you look at Sam Carrick. Had they re-signed Sam Carrick, look what he's doing in New York. Sam Carrick's playing just fine on their fourth line center there. He's physical, can win some faceoff, kills penalties, whatever. Heck, he was like Connor Brown. He scored an overtime goal this year, for goodness sake. So I could see them looking at a center. Nick Bjugstad I know he's been here before, and it would be a pure rental, but there's a few other options out there potentially. And so I could see them, looking at that and kicking tires. But if you can get another winger, and if you can find like a top 6 winger, then you could say we just keep Nugent Hopkins and Henrique, and now our team's better on the wing and down the middle.
Yeah, and don't forget, at some point, Evander Kane's going to put some gear on here and want to play too.
Yeah, not till the playoffs, though. So yeah,
I know, but I mean, that's what we're talking about, is the finished product, right? We're talking about the team that's starting playoffs here. So I agree with you. If you found another left winger, now you say, okay, I don't need Nugent Hopkins at wing anymore. You could say that, and I get it. Now Nuge is your third line center or second. And, there's still going to be, I guess my point would be, I don't care how many wingers you get. Knobloch shows us that he's still going to play McDavid and Draisaitl together some games, right? Like he's not going to never do that. So when he does that, you need enough centers underneath to fill out your lineup, is my point. So yes, I think you got to find a big right shot centerman to play fourth line center. I think the ship has probably sailed on trying to win a cup with Ryan, and probably Philp's not ready for that job yet. And, they also want that winger we're talking about. And, oh, boy, you sure could use a defenseman. Hey, man, they don't have that much cap room here. So they might have to choose 2 out of those 3. I'm not sure they got enough for everybody here.
Yeah. Well, they might have. Right. Evander Kane, I think, for me, I've said it many times, I schedule him in as a bottom 6 winger. And if he plays his way up even higher, well, now I got a real good problem. But I don't plan on having him as a top 6 guy on opening day of the playoffs when he hasn't played basically a year. I wouldn't do it.
No chance. He's no way. Like, he starts from the bottom, works his way up. They got a lot of good left wingers. If Skinner's going to, let's just say for fun that Skinner continues to ascend, and you love his game, and he grabs a spot. Let's say he grabs a spot next to Draisaitl. Okay, great. So now you got, who's your top line left winger? Is it not Nugent Hopkins? Who is it going to be here?
Well, I guess it could be Arvidsson, right? That's what it was last night, or Hyman. So you could do it. You're right. It's not necessarily ideal, but that's why I think if you can go out there and get one. Now, there's not a lot of options, right? That's for sure. But
yeah.
Does Brock Nelson tickle your fancy at all? Or are you more interested in Trent Frederick?
Well, I guess Brock Nelson's a way better player. To me, Brock Nelson's a way better player, but Frederick is a big, hard guy to play against that I wouldn't mind on my team in the playoffs. I love Trent Frederick. Going beyond that, which of those teams you think is selling here? Do you think that I can't see Boston selling at the deadline, man? Giving up a reasonably young player like Frederick. Do you see that happening?
I think there's a real chance. The Bruins aren't very good. Spec. And I know there's a month left, but there's not a month of hockey. There's really 2 weeks of playing games left before the trade deadline. So like 6 games per team on average, give or take. Some have 7. But I look at if he's going to walk, and he's kind of a unicorn, Spec. There's not many guys who play with his tenacity. And you know what? You only get to be a UFA once. Well, I shouldn't say that. Lots of guys, but you know what I mean? Kind of at a certain time. And, we had even Adam Oates talking about just, teaching the skill set of being physical and, how to take angles and how to deliver, good body checks. There's not a lot of guys who do it. And so we know the playoff intensity ratchets it up. And, I don't know if it's a guarantee Boston trades him, but I think they'll be asking for a high price and they might get it. We've seen teams be willing to give up lots for guys who maybe aren't deemed as good as you think, because they're right. We really need this element the guy brings.
Well, especially if you're a team that thinks you're going to go ahead and sign Trent Frederick, right? Now you give something up, but you sign the guy for 7 years. You know, I love the player. Like, I love the player, man. And the Oilers do not have that player, particularly with no Evander Kane in their lineup. They could absolutely use what Trent Frederick brings to the table, 1,000%. But what do we know here? They're probably not able to sign him as a UFA, right? They probably don't have the money in their budget to make a 7-year deal for this guy. So you're giving up a whole bunch for him it's a rental. And if you win, I don't care what you paid. It was a good trade. You know, if you win a cup, it's a good trade. Can Trent Frederick help you win a cup? You bet he can, man. When it gets big and ugly and dirty in the playoffs, I'll have him on my team every day. But I go back to my first point. I'll tell you what, color me, like, let's talk on deadline day. If Boston turns out to be a seller, you remember I said it, and I'll tell you I was wrong, but I do not see the Boston Bruins. Even if you and I both look at them and say, Boston's not going anywhere, man. And I'm looking at them right now and saying that. They're not going anywhere. They're on the downslope. They've been great for 25 years, 20 years. They're not that good anymore. They're not going to be a seller at the trade deadline. I'm here to tell you.
Spec, great stuff, buddy. We'll see you at the rink tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right, man.
That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back. You get a wish list. You get one player. Who's the one target? Try to be somewhat realistic. The one trade target for you, an Oiler fan, that you would like, Stan Bowman, between now and the trade deadline on March 7th. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs and up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more. You know the Ridge Social Eatery St. Albert is a great place to unwind with your friends. But when it comes to Valentine's Day, let's just say you get a little frantic with the romantic. Not to worry, the Ridge has you covered. Yeah, the Ridge is the perfect place for you two with their special Valentine's Day menu. You get your choice of a main and your choice of a shared app and dessert, plus a bottle of sparkling wine, all for just $140 per couple. Reservations are recommended, so call now or go online to theridgestantalbert.com.
It's the month of the heart, and Sherwood Honda has heartfelt thanks for your support. Knowing your heart, Sherwood Honda is devoted to your best care. Whatever your auto needs, a dealership and a family, each department is here to make your buying experience stress-free and enjoyable. We actually want you to have fun. And we're slightly obsessed with making customers happy. There's still such a thing as an auto buying experience with heart, and we sure would love to prove it to you.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even...
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Take 25% off any pizza at regular menu price. Use code GAME25 at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:28. Welcome back, Gregor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. You're listening on the app, maybe watching at Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, wherever you're watching, listening, downloading the show. Thank you very much. It's always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play this month of February at PlayAlberta.ca. The Oilers day off today as they will get set to have a morning skate tomorrow and then host the Colorado Avalanche, who are in Calgary tonight. Now, we asked the question, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. We'll get to all that right now in our oil report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, where right now you can lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid for 1.49% and save $4,500 off the ticket price. So sticker price at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. I cannot recommend the XC90 enough. I've driven one now for over 3 years. Absolutely love it. Very comfortable, sleek, good on gas. Everything's excellent. The plug-in hybrid, that one's great too, man. Like I could plug it in my garage and, charge it overnight. No big deal. And then I could go like to work and back. You get up to 70K, 75K on it. Go a few days. No gas, man. I was like putting no gas in for a month. It was unreal. So check it out at PlayAlberta.ca. Or sorry, at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The text line, lots of it. I asked you. You get one realistic. That was the key word, like realistic options on this. But I do want to ask this because I know this has been going around there. Hey, Gregor, the cap is going up the next year or so. Do you really think Edmonton would even look at Rantanen? I have seen that, Brad, but I just don't know how it makes sense. So next year, Draisaitl's up to 14. You've got Darnell Nurse. Connor McDavid is in the final year of his. So let's just say it's at 12.5, which we know it is, right? So that's what he's at. So right there is, what is that? 14 and 12, 22. So that's 36 mil, right? Between the three of them for next season. Then you throw Evan Bouchard's got to get a raise. I think it's going to be significant. Let's just say 9 mil for fun, right? So there's 4 guys. Now you're going to add Rantanen for a fifth that he's probably at least 12 mil. I don't see how it works. So I would, yes, the cap is going up a lot, but that's 5 guys over 50 mil. I don't really see it, to be honest. And then McDavid's new contract kicks in the following year, and he's going to be getting a raise. It's probably up to, 16. We'll see what he's at, but it's going to be more. So I don't see how financially it makes a whole bunch of sense. Hey, boys, what do you think about Nick Foligno? What would it take? It's a good question. There's elements of Foligno's game that I quite like. He's highly competitive. You know what? I know qualms that, he'll show up, when the games matter. He's got a bite to his game. Can he move that well? He'll definitely bring more bite. There's no question. The problem with Foligno is he's got another year left at 4.5 mil. And I think they signed Foligno. They gave him that money. He's the captain. They want him to help kind of protect. And I think with the struggles in Chicago right now, with Connor Bedard and just everything around him, I think it's even more important that Nick Foligno is there. And to further on our conversation yesterday with Stephen Hauschka, like having that soil in the garden to help things grow, that's why you've got Nick Foligno. And you're okay with overpaying him for what he's giving you in points because you're hoping what he's giving you in the other elements is what matters. So I'd be surprised. I think he just makes too much because even if you retain, it's 2.25 mil. So I don't see how he would fit into the Oilers. Hey guys, Alex Tuck. You know what? I've seen a lot of Alex Tuck comments, and I can see how it makes sense. He's got another year on his deal, so that part's good. Now he's a 4.75 cap hit. Are the Sabres going to Edmonton? If you look at their cap situation, for next year. If now you could bring in Tuck, and then that means you move somebody else out, right? That's very plausible. So for this run, I can see there being interest in Alex Tuck for sure. Now, if you can get Buffalo to retain some, but anything they retain, you probably got to up the cost to get them. I've heard that, Alex Tuck would be more than happy to get moved out of Buffalo. So, you know what? I think there's a chance. Hey, guys, Tyler Bertuzzi from Eric. I'll say 0 chance. Too long of a contract, hanging too much money for Edmonton for what he's like 5.5 mil. I don't see that for Edmonton. It's just it's too much, and it's for too long for him. Hey, guys, Provorov from Sean. Now, he's an intriguing one. You're the Columbus Blue Jackets. You're in a season that obviously started it with tragedy, and you have managed to, I think, they become a team that I find a lot of people around the league, you're kind of rooting for it. Like, they're not your team, but you're like, hey, Columbus. Like, because Columbus has never, they won one playoff round, right? So they don't have a boatload of playoff success here. So no one hates them, right? And you look at their story, but, even with as great as they played, they're still on the outside of a playoff position today. And they're, 2 back? No, not by much. They're 2 and 1 points behind, although Tampa does have games in hand. I could see Provorov, like if you're Columbus, does it matter to you to get in when you're probably not going to go that far? Or if you can get something significant, would you move Provorov? I think it's going to come to, I think if they don't re-sign Provorov before March 7th, I think there's a good chance he could be moved. And I could see why Oiler fans would want him, because he can play both sides. So he gives you really good depth. But if you bring in Provorov, are you taking Klingberg out or are you taking Emberson out? Right? That would be it might be Emberson, right? For down the stretch for this year. Very, very much could be. So I don't mind Provorov idea at all. Hey, guys, if you get retention, would Trouba be an option? Matt, I don't think he's going to come and play in Canada due to his wife and her job opportunities. So I don't see that. But otherwise, it makes a lot of sense. But you'd probably have to have like a 2-team retention, because remember when he got traded to Anaheim, there was no retention. So he's an $8 million cap hit. Now, I know that it's part of the season, whatever, but even if they retain 50, you'd probably have to get another team. So you only have 25, right? That would be the one. Hey, guys, Mike Matheson from Summerside, Sean. Another option because, hey, Montreal, they had their run. It was a nice little 10-gamer and got everybody excited, and they're scoring goals, and Patrick Laine scoring, and it's awesome. But I think reality is kind of kicking in. And now Matheson, the challenge for Edmonton with him is he has another year left on his deal at 4.875. That's, where does he fit in? Because if he has another year, so is Klingberg just a pure rental for you? He's a left shot, Matheson. I know he can play the right side, but he's a left shot. And John Klingberg comes in and plays well. Does John Klingberg even get 4.875 in his next deal? I don't think so. He'd have to play out of his mind to get that. So they might be better off, but I love how Matheson skates. So, and here's the thing, there's still a month, albeit a 2-week break in between. I think Edmonton does need another good defenseman, just because the odds, just for depth. This is a year where you don't want to be the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars might not, but they might have been able to beat Edmonton if they only had 6 defensemen. I think their top 5 guys got worn down. They basically played 5 guys. They didn't, Nils Lindqvist was dressed, but my goodness, he was, might have been dressed as a grocery stick because he didn't play very much at all. Right. And actually Alex Petrovic came up and he played more. So you don't want to be in a situation where you only have 6 NHL defensemen that you trust. You really need to have a 7th and that you're very confident can play. So I can see why Edmonton would look for another one, even though they've got Klingberg. Just, you're one player away from an injury. Hey, Guy, what about Adam Pelech? Oh, the Islanders. Now, they do have time, right? They got a month. Pelech's contract, let me look it up quick. He's got 4 years at 5.7, right? So if you're getting him, he's a lefty, then you're probably moving out Brett Kulak, right? Which they could do, right? But because you can't have Ekholm and Nurse and Pelech and Kulak. It just doesn't make sense. Like if it was a rental, sure. Because then you're just, adding depth. But long-term at that price, I think, like if I'm the Islanders, that's the one guy I don't want to trade. I think they want to keep him. So, but I could see why you'd have interest in him. Hey, guys, not a big name, but Ryan Donato. I think he might score better than some of the Oilers guys, top 6. I will say this about Donato. You're right. He's not very expensive. And I said, I think he's the one guy in Chicago that's going to get a lot of calls because he's not expensive and he's being productive, right? He's a $2 million guy, so they can retain. He's $1 million cap hit, and that's then prorated. So heck, it's like what, $400K is what it would be on the cap, basically. So I could see that. Now, my one concern with Donato is the two elements that Edmonton would like to increase, he doesn't bring: speed or physicality amongst their forward group. Pretty decent finisher, yes. But like, I think Edmonton would like to add a little speed for sure. Hey guys, if the Oilers pay more than 3.3 times 5 for Bouchard, I'm going to throw up, even if that is on the high side. It means losing him, so be it. He's easy to replaceable for much less. Tub guy, I think you got to take a deep breath. Bouchard's getting way more than $5 million, and he's worth way more than $5 million. Like you can get frustrated because he gives the puck away sometimes. But Mike Kelly, if you saw his numbers, Bouchard's top 5 in percentage of giveaways based on the time you have the puck on your stick. So he gives it away the 5th fewest amount of times for the amount of time he handles the puck. Right? And like I've always said, at times, like it was Darnell Nurse, people see certain plays and then it's just, oh my God, this is so bad. Yeah, Bouchard can make a play that gets you frustrated. But he then will make 10 to 15 plays that are good, but they don't go noticed. And some of them are just subtle. Just, I think people underestimate the value in having a defenseman who makes tape-to-tape passes to guys in speed out of the zone and how often he does it. And Bouchard, I think he's 3rd in the NHL in that. Like, so when you say he's easily replaceable, you're wrong. Like, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's not easy to find guys who can do a lot of things Bouchard did. And remember, he's not having his most consistent season. This is actually a good thing. I keep saying this for Oilers fans. This could lower his ask. Now, come playoff time, hey, you know what? You want him to play great because you want to win. I get it. But, like, Bouchard's not, like, the Oilers got the 2nd best record in the NHL since November 1st. Bouchard doesn't hurt them. Yeah, he makes the odd bad play. So what? He makes way more good plays. But easily replaceable, sorry, you're wrong. Hey, boys, I'd be looking at Jason Zucker. That guy's on fire. Now, that's a good one. You know what? You're true. Jason Zucker's been playing fantastic for the Buffaloes. It's almost like he's out there saying, hey, guys, look at me. Pick me for your playoff team. You know what? I'd have a lot of time for Jason Zucker. Left winger. He's in the final year of his deal. So they're going to retain. I'm not even sure how much you'd have to give up, to be honest. He's a 33-year-old player. So I don't mind that one at all. That might be, the best potential fit for what Edmonton needs. A skilled left winger. Because if you're going to keep Nugent Hopkins, that's a possibility. For Zucker. Now, he's got 18 goals in 51 games. He's having a really good year. Last year was a down year for him, 14. He had 27 the year before. He had 20, 21, 33, 22. Like he's had multiple seasons of being a 20-goal scorer. Right? And he scored 30 twice. Once for sure, I think twice. And, he's on pace right now. He's got 18 and 51 on a not very good team. He's really been good as of late. So that's a solid name. He's a pending UFA on a team that is definitely going nowhere. Heck, they might just settle for a 2nd rounder. Right? Like, I don't know, 2nd rounder and like a B prospect. Hey, Greggs, what about Brad Marchand? Yeah, I saw that one pop up. That's an interesting one for me. Right? Like, so obviously McDavid's going to get to know him well at the Four Nations. And I don't think they'll play together, but I don't know. You know, you might have Marchand, McKinnon, and Crosby, the East Coast line, play together. So, you know, Marchand's a pretty big ticket, right? Even at 50% retained. And maybe you get to 25 by having a third team in there. Yeah, here's Marchand, skilled player, smart player, very good defense. I think Brad Marchand gets underrated how good he is defensively. And we all know he can be a POS on the ice, right? He can irritate the hell out of you. No question. So, you know, Brad Marchand is Boston's the team. Like, because he's their captain. Like, if you're trading him, I think you're fully committing to say, okay, you know what, we're going in a different direction here. We're kind of saying goodbye to all the championship runs, and away we go. So, this just in, we got lots more texts. We'll get to them and take a break. But 879, the grade 8, just ripped one home. He is now 16 shy of breaking the record. 15 to tie Gretzky, 16 to break it. As the grade 8 continues to score. That is 49 goals in his last 74 games played for Alex Ovechkin. Unreal. We'll take a quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
He is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 9th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with promo code GAME25. Order at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using promo code GAME25. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
Much of our challenges in healthcare can be solved by spending public dollars on a public system. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
A few years ago, I was doing okay, but the rising cost of living has made my credit card bills go through the roof, and I don't know how to handle it anymore.
Times are tough. The cost of living is causing many to fall into debt through no fault of their own. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed. There are options that can help you get back on your feet. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I can help you find a solution to become debt-free. Visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.549, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And hey, guess what is happening this Saturday? The Oil Kings. It is Louis the Lion, the mascot. It's his birthday. big birthday bash. And you tell you the Oil Kings, they know how to make events for the game. So we got a few prize packs for you. 4 tickets to the game and a Louis the Lion bobblehead. So text in the word Louis, 833-401-1440, but only if you can 100% go to the game. Because we don't like giving away tickets and then, oh, sorry, I can't use them. No. You got to make sure 100% you can go this Saturday for Louis' birthday bash. 833-401-1440 as they are taking on the Moose Jaw Warriors, 7 o'clock puck drop on Saturday night. So, hey, perfect time to take the kids on a Saturday, not too late. Those games are done quick. You know, you'll be home 9:30, 9:45. Great. So 4-pack of tickets and the Louis the Lionhead bobblehead. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, what about Connor Murphy? Klingberg's speed doesn't look up to speed. I don't know enough about Murphy. Eric, great name. Here's the thing about Connor Murphy. If the Oilers could convince the Blackhawks to do what they did with Jake McCabe and retain 50%, and Edmonton would get him then at 2.05 for the rest of this season and next year, that would be phenomenal. And honestly, they did it once before. Right? They're not going anywhere. They're not going to be any better next year. Let's be honest here. So depending on what you give them, Connor Murphy, and especially if you get them to retain, I think he'd be solid. Big body, pretty mobile, can play you some tough minutes, gives you really solid depth, right? Connor Murphy is definitely a name that I'd be looking at. And obviously Stan Bowman knows him quite well. Always matters. Hey, guys, Bouchard doesn't give the puck away, but when he does, it's egregious. People can't seem to get over the one bad play. Adam and Red Deer. Oh, it's bang on, man. And I've always said this. If you watch for what you don't like, you'll always find it. And it becomes, there's a bad giveaway. And then he won't make one for 4 games, but there's a bad giveaway. And it never goes away. Yes, sure, you'd like him to limit them. I get that. But he is 5th best. When the amount of time he has the puck on his stick to the amount of time he gives it away, 5th best in the NHL. So he's not the giveaway machine that he does have some giveaways. And when they are, they're big ones. And so would you like him to eliminate the big ones? I think it's fair to say, hey, I want him to cut down on the big 10-bellers. Sure, no problem, fair. But that doesn't make him a bad player. There's 2 things can happen at once. Bouchard, really good player, has a few too many 10-bell giveaways. Both can be fair and accurate. And I think you can't just find great players like Evan Bouchard, but you can get him to slowly eliminate those type of plays out of his game. Guaranteed he can. We've seen lots of guys. He's not the first young defenseman who has a propensity at times to make a big glaring error. It happens. And when you have the puck, it's more likely to happen more. Hey, boys, what about Jake Evans? He can finish, and then you could even move Henrique or Nugent Hopkins to the wing from Ironman Kev. Well, Jake Evans, started off as having a career year offensively, right? And I think he's hoping to get paid on it. I don't know if he's going to bring you that type of offense. I would hope so. Maybe it carries over, but if he just brings you, the speed, the tenacity, and the penalty kill, and chips in a little bit here, I don't mind that at all, right? What's Montreal going to want for him? Right? Because I think Montreal, that's a guy, if I'm the Canadiens, honestly, I would be willing to overpay Jake Evans a little bit on a 2 or 3 year deal as my team's still in a rebuild, because I'd want his type of character around. That's what I'd do if I was them. But, we'll see. So he's got, 11 goals in 54 games, 27 points, solid. Guys on pace to score, 40 points. Probably a little bit high, but still he has 29 and 28. So, having a little bit better year. It's only his 5th season in the NHL. So yeah, he would be intriguing to me. He's a right shot center. He's decent in draws. Jake Evans definitely would be on the list. It's a good one. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Many of you are going with Jake Evans. Hey guys, imagine Marchand and Perry in the same team. Amazing. They could stir. And throw in Evander Kane. Right, if you imagine Kane, Marchand, and Perry, the chirping, the little stickness here and there, it would be great. Now, Brad Marchand is an interesting name that's come out. And hey, if you're the Edmonton Oilers and you're in win now mode, why wouldn't you look at it? It's not bad. Some great suggestions today. We'll do that again probably as we get out of the break. Tomorrow we'll focus on the Oilers and the Avs. Could have McKinnon and Draisaitl either tied or, Draisaitl up by 1 or down by 1, depending on what happens tonight. Maybe, I guess, technically 2 if McKinnon goes off for the Avs against the Flames. But we'll have lots to talk about on a positive Friday tomorrow. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger running everything online. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday. Be safe. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy all the NHL games. And we will chat with you tomorrow. Let's get to the comment, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. And you know what? They are hiring. If you want to work for a great company, there's a strong benefits, RSP matching, even a starting bonus for the right candidate. Apply today at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 14.